It is a beautiful day, and we are broadcasting live. We made it to Rice Lake, Wisconsin. We are at Turtleback Golf Course, getting ready for tomorrow's Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Outing, and that is going to take place tomorrow. I know a few of the guys are here today. That just got into town a little while ago, and saw a few of them running around and wanting to get out and play an extra round of golf today and get ready for tomorrow's celebrity tournament. But a good day, beautiful day today, as a matter of fact. A little bit of it's not overcast. It's just a really almost kind of a foggy sky today is the best way to put it. It's supposed to get up to 84 degrees, a little bit of a breeze, but out here on the patio, on the deck at Turtleback, overlooking the golf course, it is picture perfect. It doesn't get much better than this today. So, man, I just and there's a look at the first tee at Turtleback, and look at the 10th, and the coming up on the putting green, the practice putting green. So, a few of the sites if you're watching on the live stream today. The Brewers, they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory yet again. Devin Williams. It was funny. I was just talking yesterday. I got off the air, and I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday. I was driving up here, and it was boy. I tell you what, we needed the rain. Did we get rain? Holy mackerel! It was a slow, steady, long, soaking rain all day at my house yesterday. Up here in Rice Lake, they need it. All the sprinkler systems are going in all the fields. All the farmers are desperately in need of rain. No doubt about it. But back home, back in the Milwaukee area, it was a slow, steady, soaking rain all day yesterday. And so I'm loading up the RV, and I'm in and out and in and out and in and out. And I get on the road, and I'm talking to a buddy of mine, and we're just talking baseball in general. We're just shooting the stuff, right? And we're talking about the division and talking about the Brewers, and can the Brewers do this and can the Brewers do that, and some of the mainstays they've had. And, if you can just get Yelich going and get him between 265 and 275, that'd probably be a successful season. And, and I had just said to my buddy Scott, I said, a couple of things would have to go but really wrong. And one of them would be, if Devin Williams choked away a few leads, and just all of a sudden, the Brewers were giving up some surefire wins and turning them into losses. Well, damn, if Christian Yelich didn't just go off last night, and oh, by the way, he's now hitting 265, and then Devin Williams last night choked away a lead, and the Brewers ended up getting knocked off in ugly fashion. Back at it again today. They are, but Brewers lose 7-5 last night, and Minnesota plates 4 runs, bottom of the ninth, and it just went bad. Just went bad for the Brewers. They had a lead, and you thought, okay, here comes Williams. This is it. This is awesome. 5 runs, 10 hits, no errors for the Brewers, and you're thinking to yourself, this is a win, right? 5-3, you're good to go. And then the 2-run homer happens, and that was all she wrote. So Christian Yelich goes 3 for 5 last night, has the dinger. No strikeouts knew his name, and as I had mentioned, he goes to 265 batting average. 265 batting average. Get 3 hits last night, scores a couple of times, drives in 4, had just a hell of a night. Almost single-handedly beat the Twins. Unfortunately, it was they just gave it up. Just gave it up, and it was all for naught. So he was the bright spot last night. He was the bright spot. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. That's the phone number. Also today, we've got some IndyCar we're going to talk. We've got, and I got to make sure I pronounce this correctly. Santino Ferrucci, who is scheduled. He's going to be joining us today, and obviously, since the Indy 500 finished 3rd in the Indy 500, he is going to be joining us coming up here in about an hour. We'll talk with him as the IndyCar drivers getting ready to take on Road America. A lot of them are already in town, and I'm going to be heading that way on Thursday evening, and we'll bring you the show live from Road America coming up on Friday. But we've got Santino Ferrucci going to be joining us coming up here in about an hour from now, just to talk about the IndyCar season, and then obviously the love for Road America and the course that it is. So we'll get into that discussion as well. In the meantime, we got a lot today from those that are in attendance up at the Packers mini camps. We're going to hear from Jair Alexander today. Going to hear from some of Matt LaFleur. We got a lot coming up. But Mike Clemens caught up with Jair Alexander yesterday, so we're going to hear from him. So we'll get into that as well. Todd, by the way, and Todd, kudos to you. Todd noticed that every time we seem to bring up Christian Yelich and just say, nope, it's done, it stinks, it's bad, he turns it around that very next day and goes yard. And so Todd sent me an email first thing this morning. He said, dude, just keep ripping on Yelich because it's working. It's the only thing that's working. So if the show has that kind of power, then I think we utilize it to the best of our ability. And hopefully we help the Milwaukee Brewers and more so Christian Yelich onto some type of a successful season. So although last night, as good as Yelich was, they still ultimately ended up losing the game. But I get where you're coming from, and I thank you for the reminder. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to give us a shout, please feel free to do so. This is from Mike. Mike says, hey, guys, no way the Brewers should have lost that game last night. Devin Williams just had a bad game. I believe in this team. They came out swinging the bats well. Christian Yelich looked re-engaged. Hopefully they get the win tonight and then make some hay this weekend. And that's the big thing is, again, I said yesterday, just all you got to do is hope for a split. Just split. That's it. Just split. And by the way, Pittsburgh lost last night. So the Brewers game back still behind the Pittsburgh Pirates. Only the Brewers, by the way, one game over 500 right now. They're only a game back, but they're one game over 500. However, by the way, the Cardinals lost again. 8.5 back, the Cardinals are right now. So the Cardinals just holding steady. But the Reds, Cincinnati has won 4 straight. Cincinnati now 2.5 games back. Starting to believe. And they got Dela Cruz that came up. They got a little ignition for that team. He's incited some enthusiasm among the fan base. And it's Cincinnati starting to breathe a little breath. So I think Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, I don't think either one of them. As a matter of fact, my buddy Scott, who I was talking to, is from Cincinnati, and we were talking about that. They don't believe Pittsburgh's for real. That's all they talk about. They don't think Pittsburgh's for real. They just keep saying chase the Brewers. Catch the Brewers. That's all you need to do is catch the Brewers because they believe the Brewers are the best team in the division. And I said, really? I mean, for everything that St. Louis had coming into the year, really? It's catch the Brewers? Everybody outside of our area believes the Brewers are the team to beat because the Brewers are going to get healthy and the Brewers are going to get, all their pitching back, and all of a sudden things are going to be just, flying high for the Brewers. I'm like, dude, I just don't see it. Not on the consistent. I just don't see it. But that's their mantra is, don't worry about Pittsburgh right now. Just catch the Brewers. Because if you catch the Brewers, you're going to eventually catch the top spot in the division. Interesting take from somebody outside of the area. Also, what else do we have? By the way, congratulations to the Golden Knights last night. I stayed up. I sat down and I watched the hockey game last night from beginning to end. I got here. I got settled into the hotel. I flipped on the TV. I watched. And man, I'll tell you this. Florida did everything they could. They pulled the goalie. They ended up giving another couple of goals up. I mean, the Golden Knights were just by far the better team. They were just the better team. And they deserved to win. But last night, it was very reminiscent of the scene outside of the Fiserv Forum when the Bucks were winning a championship, where outside of that arena out in Vegas, they had, like, what they say, 30,000 outside of the arena. Inside, the arena's going crazy. And who said that you will not have fans in Vegas because it's a transient city? What a gathering out there last night. What an exciting time. And boy, I tell you what, the Golden Knights just ran away with it. And they deserved it. They are hockey's champions. They now will start taking the cup around. And you're probably going to see a lot of weird stuff going on with the Stanley Cup. But hey, that's what the sport's all about and what tradition's all about. But congratulations to the Golden Knights last night on their victory as well and winning the Stanley Cup. So good stuff there. It was a good night last night. I wish the Brewers would have won, but was a good night last night overall. I thought it was a lot of fun. And speaking of Vegas, you knew it was only a matter of time, but Vegas has now approved after putting it off. Vegas has now approved over 300, I think, $1 million worth of public financing for a new stadium for the Oakland A's. And Oakland fans, I know, are uniting. But the it's pretty much a done deal. It's written in stone. They're going to end up leaving. They're going to go to they're going to end up going to Las Vegas. So no doubt. 877-867-1670. Want to hit us up? 877-867-1670. Mark, yeah, I know. I mean, the first time they won the Stanley Cup in their inaugural season, that city was out of their minds. I mean, kudos to them. You know, there was a lot of discussion when they first went there that, the city of Las Vegas being so transient and so many people came from so many different cities to live there that the allegiance to the Golden Knights would not be there. And they have proven time and again now 2 Stanley Cups in their short history that their fan base is just awesome. Just an awesome, awesome fan base. No doubt about it. And the first time, their inaugural season when they won, that place was going crazy. So they've had and shared some excitement early on in their short-lived existence. What else do we have here for you today? Getting back to the Milwaukee Brewers, Mike writes, hey, Bill, do you think that Christian Yelich can continue this? Every time we start to believe in Christian Yelich, he lets us down. But he has shown more positive moments this season than negative overall. Thoughts? No. Just no. I hope, like I said, I mean, for Christian Yelich to make me happy, give me 275, 20 to 25 home runs, drive in, 70 and steal a few bases and score some runs. I think it's kind of like when the Brewers fans early on, when I first moved into the state back in 1999, almost 25 years ago, it was just get to 500, you know. You had a franchise that was fledgling. It was just kind of flapping in the wind, and not a lot of money being spent. Free agency was not even a thought. It was more of a seller every year than a buyer. And you just, when Ned Yost was hired, you just wanted to get back to 500 after having, a successful period, we'll say. I think at this point with Christian Yelich, the dreams of, batting near 300 and being just a dangerous hitter that can go down and get it, or go up and get it, or go out and get it, swing inside golf wise and go get it, and pretty much hit a ball anywhere and everywhere. I think those days are over. But if you can get 275 out of them, if you can get 270, 275 out of them and 25 home runs, and like I said, drive in, 60, 70 runs, and score, 40, 50 yourself. And, I think your numbers, what your ask is not astronomical on what he got his contract based upon. I think now it's just give me the above average numbers and just make the 29 million that they're paying you a year seem like you're getting something in return. And that's kind of where I'm at with Christian Yelich. It's kind of where I'm at. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, go ahead and give us a shout. Would love to hear from you. This is a beautiful place, stunning. And I know it's a little hazy today, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's the fires from up in Nova Scotia. I don't know if it's just because there's just a haze in the air, a little bit of a cool, misty feel on a day that's going to warm up and the sun's shining through the haze. But Turtleback Golf Course, for those, and I've talked about it, I get a chance to go to many different golf courses and do many different things all throughout the year. And Viroqua Hills is awesome. Turtleback is also awesome. Wild Ridge is awesome. There's a lot of really good golf courses that aren't bigger named in the state of Wisconsin. And if you're looking for just a weekend getaway and you want to go play some golf, go smoke a few cigars, go shop in some antique areas in some smaller towns, this is one of those places. Turtleback is absolutely fantastic. It's probably got 18 of the coolest holes 16 of the coolest holes I've seen. There's a couple of holes that are just, long and straight and flat and nothing spectacular. But, where I'm at, you tee off on one and it's got a dog leg off to the right, and it's very, very much undulation, and it's got hills and bunkers about 230 to 250 yards out. And, 10 is pretty much the same way. 18, you're coming up and wrapping around the lake here out in front of me. And they've got the pin tucked towards the woods today. So it's a pretty tough second shot if you think you're going to par it, or if you think you're going to get on the green in 2 to be able to birdie. So it's a very challenging course, but it's a beautiful, beautiful place. So if you ever get a chance to come up here and play, it's a great place to go. It really, really is. 877-867-1670. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. What got us here is our Cunis RV. Beautiful vehicle. This is the first time I've really had a chance to take it on the road. Great vehicle. The Nexus that we have, the Nexus Triumph, is stunning. The interior is awesome. And it handled like a dream. It's got an international Cummins engine in it. And it was awesome. The seating and everything perfect. So thanks to our friends at Cunis RV for getting us all over the state of Wisconsin and well beyond the borders, as we're going to be heading out to Sturgis, South Dakota again this year. But if you're looking for an RV, doesn't matter if it's a fifth wheel, motorhome, travel trailer, whatever it is, go to Cunis, Kunes, CunisRV.com. That is CunisRV.com. Again, go to CunisRV.com.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you. Bill Michaels Show continues on. Broadcasting live at Turtleback Golf Course here in Rice Lake. I think I said that the Golden Knights won their first year. I think they were just in the Stanley Cup Finals their first year. But nevertheless, what a terrific franchise to get off to such an incredibly fast start. So sat there and watched that last night, watched some hockey. Unfortunately, saw the Brewers' demise last night. Tony C says, how many times are the Brewers going to choke away games? They can only afford to choke away 1 or 2 per season. I think that's 5 or 6 already for this team. They sure as hell can allow teams to come back on them, but they can't come back on anybody. It just doesn't happen for this team. If anybody thinks that you have to catch the Milwaukee Brewers, you are fooling yourself. Well, again, I go back to a discussion that, Cincinnati's a couple of games back, and they believe that the Brewers are the team to beat. I don't think there's anybody right now that firmly believes that Pittsburgh is the real deal. I will say this, though. The fact that Pittsburgh's been here this long, hanging around, it's not a fluke anymore. You're 65 games into the season. It's not a fluke anymore. More than a third of the way. Now, could they tail off? Absolutely. But it's not a fluke that the Pittsburgh Pirates, they've gotten some good pitching. While their hitting isn't stellar, it's been better than average. So I'm not putting it out of the realm of possibility that Pittsburgh could be the team to beat by the end of the season. The old flying under the radar thought, so to speak. Tim says, you always talk about the nice golf courses in Wisconsin. What are some of the worst courses in Wisconsin? Oh, boy. You know what? I haven't done shows from some of the worst courses in Wisconsin. I've played some courses that aren't like stellar, but they're not terrible. They're just golf courses. So I'm not knocking them because it depends on what you're looking for. If you're going to go spend big money and you're going to go to what you would consider to be a 5-star course, I mean, obviously you've got Erin Hills, you've got Whistling Straits, Black Wolf Run. You may even be able to throw the Bull in there. The Bull, I think the Bull, when it comes to golf in the state of Wisconsin, most people feel the Bull is the toughest course. I've said this all along, that the best course in the state of Wisconsin, to me, and I've played many, the best course to me is the Irish course. I think the Irish course is just challenging, beautiful, and if it was flip-flopped with Whistling Straits, it would be the course. I really do. I think that the Irish course up in Kohler, up in Whistling Straits, I think that's the best course. I think the Straits course is beautiful and challenging. Erin Hills is it's an interesting course because it's very, the rolling hills and the high fescue and such. It's a very scenic course out in the middle of, there's not really a lot of water or anything, but it does have, I think, like a stream or creek running through it. And it does have some forestry elements to it with some trees and such. But it's a rolling course. It's a beautiful, long, out in the middle of this farm country rolling course. And I like that. It's a stunning venue as well. I've been to University Ridge. I would probably put that 6th or 7th on my list of places to play. But yeah, right. Jason says by far the Bull is the toughest course. I just from people that are in the know and from my own personal experience, I thought the Bull was the toughest course. That's just me. So, but you know what? I can butcher any course. So I'm good that way. Jack says, the Brewers are just watching their season go down the drain. We're not even to the All-Star break yet. They're a game back. It's not down the drain. I think that while you can look at things and say, you know what, that was a tough one to sustain last night. That was kind of a punch to the solar plexus. On the other hand, you can also say, no, they're only a game back. It's what is today? Wednesday. It's not an overreaction Wednesday. Not going to do that today. Judge Smale says Mammoth Dunes is amazing. Never been. Pine Mountain, Timberstone is beautiful. I mean, Timberstone is just really, really, really nice. Scott says, how do you like Century World? Never been. That's one place I've never been. I can only go by what people have told me. But I've never been to Century World. Not yet. Would love to go there. What do we have here? This is Louis. Louis the DJ says he believes that Christian Yelich is starting to get his swing back. It was some of the offseason workouts that he did. Did you see that he was building muscle? He looks a little bit bigger. It's just taking him time to get his body up to speed. But Louis, look, first of all, Louis the DJ, I like the email and I like the name. But you're 200 plus at bats into the season. You're not, at this point, you're not growing into your body anymore. You're trying to maintain or sustain whatever it is you did in the offseason to work out. That's it. There's nothing more to it than that. I think you're fooling yourself if you're thinking all of a sudden that, Christian Yelich is something's going. I hope it clicks, but it's not because of any kind of a workout or anything that he did this offseason. I think you're just kind of waiting to see, if he kind of sees the ball bigger and better and gets more on it, if you will. Scott says the smoke around there is from Canada, causing the haze yet again. Scott, thanks for the email. Adam says, I'm going to be at the Milwaukee Mile this weekend as well. Are you going to be there? No, we're going to be at Road America. I'm glad that they're racing at the Mile again. That's for sure. I know that coming up on Sunday, the Father's Day schedule, they're going to open up the grandstand about 9. They got the ASA Stars National Tour practice and race going on. The tour main feature, the Father's Day 100, presented by the Hunt Brothers Pizza. That's going to be taking place. So they've got a lot going on with ASA. If you want to watch ASA, that's going to be at the Milwaukee Mile. If you want to watch the Indy cars, they're going to be racing at Road America. Big race weekend for Father's Day weekend coming up. 877-867-1670. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We are broadcasting live. We are here at Turtleback Golf Course. Beautiful. Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Beautiful. By the way, Cal, the skeeters, I haven't had any. No mosquitoes. A little bit of a breeze, so mosquitoes aren't hanging out today. I will let you know tomorrow morning because tonight the I don't know what they call it. It's a celebrity, quote, sponsor party type of thing. That is over at Tom Kozer, who is the owner of the radio stations up here. And it's at Tom Kozer's house. And I was telling you yesterday, last year, it was great. It was a little bit of a breeze, kind of cool. And it was nice. He puts everybody under a tent in his backyard. And it's just it's tremendous. It's a really neat event. And you get a chance to listen to everybody tell some stories and have a few beers and play on the putting greens and such. Last year was pleasant. The year before that, it was mosquito infested, man. So I don't know. We'll see. But as of right now, no mosquitoes. And by the way, I tried to take your advice and went to Menards last night. Did not find the Thermacell. Found a lot of other stuff, but did not find the Thermacell for mosquitoes. So I'm going to have to keep on looking, I guess. So hang in there. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up live at Turtleback Golf Course here in Rice Lake. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Got to say thanks to our friends at the Water Doctors, H2, the letter O, doctors.com, H2, the letter O, doctors.com. They are the stage sponsor for the motorcycle ride coming up on Sunday, September 3rd, and we hope that you can make it and be a part of it. We ride for a motorcycle, or we ride the motorcycles for military members, veterans, their families, Fisher House, Wisconsin, kind of a home away from home for all of those during a time of need, and we can't do it without you. We had a tremendous turnout last year, almost 1,100 bikes, and we're looking to get bigger and better even this year if we can. And if you go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/bigunitpokerrun, facebook.com/bigunitpokerrun, and you can find all the information right there. There's a QR code you can scan to get pre-registered. Some great prizes for pre-registration, including a trip for two to go to Chicago with us to see the Packers and the Bears open up the 2023 NFL season. So a lot of great stuff. If you're going to ride, or maybe you know somebody who does, get entered and get registered. And we're going to have a tremendous day and culminate with a party after the fact. But got to say thanks to our friends at the Water Doctors, H2 the letter O doctors.com. That's H2 the letter O doctors.com, or call John and his staff 262-549-7733, 262-549-7733 for the best water softening system out there. That is the Connecticut water softening system. Good stuff from them. This one is from Jack. Jack says, hey, Bill, he said the Milwaukee Brewers, they're just going to hang around and toy with us. Hopefully they don't break our hearts. But once the pitching staff gets better, do you think they're going to make a deal to get a bat or two? We talked about this at length yesterday. At length. I think the hope is yes. And I thought a lot about this yesterday, because there are some that are unbelievably pessimistic that say, hey, look, they're not going to win a World Series. What are you doing? Trading away pieces. And I keep thinking to myself about teams that, the Cardinals have even won a World Series when they were a wild card. Now the Cardinals have been, perennial winner anyway, but teams have, Tampa Bay was a wild card. I think that if you just get there and you have a legitimate shot at just getting hot at the right time, you can win. Now, baseball in the postseason, usually the best team wins, usually. But there are circumstances where guys just start to feel it. I can't explain it. I can't. Sometimes just matchups against certain pitchers are better. The inexplicable has happened on a lot of occasions, right? You just saw a team in the Miami Heat as an 8th seed. They knocked off the Bucks. They knocked off the Celtics. They ended up making it to the NBA Finals. Nobody thought they were going to the NBA Finals. Most people thought that they were just going to be kind of like a mosquito. They were going to be an annoyance. You were going to swat them and they were going to go away. And I don't know. It can happen. I'm not saying it will. The likelihood is the percentages are against you. Mike says it's easy to say go get a bat, but a lot of other teams need a bat as well. I agree with that. It depends on what you have to offer. It's that simple. But I agree with that. It's not easy just to go do it. But there's also going to be teams looking for pitching, looking for prospects. There's going to be teams that are out of it that are also going to be looking for things. And they may have expiring contracts on guys they don't want to pay anymore that are bats. So you just kind of hunt and peck, and there's nothing that's going to say you're going to go out and find yourself a 300 hitter that's going to give you 40 home runs. But if you can find yourself somebody that's going to hit 265 or better, it's a lot better than what you got and what you're running out there on the consistent right now, right? Yes. You make a deal. You see what you can pull out. Now, I think it's maybe a bat. I don't think it's going to be two, and I don't think you're going to mortgage the future. But I think you're going to make a deal to try to bolster the team. And who knows by the trade deadline what you may need. You may be needing an infielder. You may be needing another outfielder. You may be needing a first baseman. You don't know, because the way the season has gone, quite frankly, the injuries have just, riddled this team. The most injured team in Major League Baseball to this point. So you don't know what you're going to need specifically here in the next month, I guess, is the best way to kind of gauge it over the next 4 weeks. So there's going to be movement. We all know that. There's going to be guys that, the Brewers may be looking at, but you're not going to start. You may be laying the groundwork right now. If you're Matt Arnold, you may be looking at certain players going, okay, this guy might be able to help us if we're right here. But how much are you willing to give up? And I guess the next thing is, if you make that blockbuster deal, say you need a bat. But you get Woodruff back, and Woodruff is pitching good, and Miley comes back, and he's throwing the ball well. Do you make that deal, say, to an American League team for Corbin Burnes, to then pick up a bat and some prospects along the way? Now, I know people are jumping out of their cars right now. Hang on a second. Hang on. I'm not saying get a rental player for Corbin Burnes. That's not what I'm saying. Not at all, because that's not what you're going to do. But if you can get a guy, say, with 2 more years on his contract and some prospects along the way that can help you in the future, maybe you go in that direction. But I'm not in favor of getting rid of pitching if you're going to go for it. I know that's your largest piece of commodity, but I'm not in favor of getting rid of established pitching when you're going for it. Jason says first base and third base have been needing upgrades for 15 years. This owner gets cheaper and cheaper by the year. Well, no, he didn't. He didn't. The year that they brought in Colton Wong, coming out of COVID, I thought they would scale things back, and they didn't. They actually spent money. Now, the Jackie Bradley Jr. experiment was a horrific mistake, but they paid Christian Yelich. You keep forgetting that, because Christian Yelich is here. They paid him. He's supposed to be that anchor. He was supposed to be the guy, and he's not. Had he stayed hot, had he stayed hitting the way he was, it's a completely different looking ball club, right? I think you would agree with me. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Gary says Toronto can have Burnes, but they're giving me Bichette and prospects on top of it. Hunter Renfroe, you're right, Wayne. That was a decent contract as well. They had that, but they ended up. I still can't get over that. They just didn't want to pay him. That's kind of the forgotten move in the bunch. He was hitting the ball. He played well. Wasn't banged up. He was consistent. Hunter Renfroe, that's another one that kind of makes you go, oh, what are you doing? It just doesn't make sense. I know they're trying to give some of the young guys an opportunity to come up and get them on the cheap, but that was also another deal that kind of sticks in the craw, so to speak, doesn't it? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This one's from Team says, what positions do you think deserve a long-term contract player? We had Braun, Yelich, Jeff Suppan. Is going bat or pitching more deserving, or does it depend on what you have at the moment? I think that if you come upon a generational player, then you can give them a longer term deal. I would rather overpay in the short term than pay a ton over a long period of time. Because I know some of these deals, like Christian Yelich's deal, when you looked at it, was like, oh, this is awesome. $29 million a year. And if he keeps playing like this in 10 years, boy, you'll be getting him on the cheap. But those very rarely work out. Those things very rarely work out. So I'd rather pay him 4 years and a lot more money. And then in 4 years, you're done with it. You're out of it. I'd rather pay more money in the short term than a large amount of money over the long term. Scott says, don't forget they paid Lorenzo Cain as well. People forget about him because he's gone now. Yeah, they paid Lorenzo Cain. Lorenzo Cain had the one good year, played really well, then struggled, then got hurt, and then bowed out of the COVID year, and then came back and was never the same guy, and then ended up calling it a career. You're correct. You are correct. 877-867-1670. Don't forget, coming up after the top of the hour, Santino Ferrucci drives for AJ Foyt Racing. He's one of the IndyCar drivers, came in third at the Indianapolis 500. He's going to be joining us, and we'll talk with him about a couple of things. First of all, it was interesting because he was in GQ magazine years ago. He was like 11 years old, and he was doing karting. He was one of the phenomenal karting kids. And I'm going to ask him when he goes to a Road America, because they have that Metroplex out back for the go-karts. And I'm going to ask him if him and some of the other drivers actually go back there in the evening, and they start karting with each other. It's kind of the throwback. Go back to the old days. But we'll talk with him about Road America, which is going to host the IndyCar races coming up this weekend. So Santino Ferrucci is going to be joining us coming up here in less than 15 minutes. Stay tuned. Got a whole lot more. The Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting live out here, Turtleback Golf Course. We are in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. It's brought to you by our friends at Every Plumbing and Heating. And air conditioning, by the way, serving La Crosse and Trempealeau and Vernon, Monroe counties, Jackson County. They are a big supporter of the motorcycle ride, founded by Korean War veteran Clayton Every back in 1969. So they are committed to the military. They are a third-generation business. Craig Every currently has it. They are hiring, by the way. They're looking for commercial plumbers. They're looking for HVAC. Also, if you want to give them a call and you want to use them, and we highly recommend that you do, located in Onalaska, call them 608-783-2803, 608-783-2803, 608-783-2803. That's Every Plumbing and Heating. More of the Bill Michaels Show live out here at Turtleback Golf Course in Rice Lake right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Welcome to Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. May I take your order?
I'd like 9 windows, please.
Of course. All our products are custom made just for you.
I'm hoping they'll match my home.
Of course they can. Have it your way.
Excuse me? We're talking about windows, right?
Yes, we customize any decor. Our design options are virtually limitless, even more customized than your coffee.
So you're like my personal barista for windows and doors.
Exactly. And you couldn't have picked a better time because if you customize your order by August 31st, you can bundle and save big.
Good deal. That was easy.
Thank you. Drive through.
Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities. Bundle and save when you customize your order by August 31st at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
When you are in Milwaukee, there is a tremendous place called Potawatomi Hotel Casino, and go to paysbig.com. The hotel is open. If you're looking to come into town for, say, a Brewers game, or maybe during Summerfest, or if you haven't made plans yet, make Potawatomi one of your destinations, whether it's the Dream Dance Steakhouse, Rui is the the Asian American. I don't even know how to say it. I just laugh every time I try to spit it out. But they have got tremendous food over there, and the crab rangoons were just out of this world when we had them for Kristen's birthday. The 360 bar is awesome. The sports book is open. The smaller one, the big one, won't open officially until a little bit later on this year. But Potawatomi Hotel Casino, bingo is back, gaming, good stuff, and the hotel, obviously. Potawatomi Hotel Casino. Go to paysbig.com. That is paysbig.com. And they also are a supporter of the motorcycle ride, because at the end of the motorcycle ride, the poker run, the hand is dealt by dealers from Potawatomi. And they come out and they volunteer their time, and they do it to help out veterans and military members and their families, and support Fisher House, Wisconsin. So we can't say thanks enough to Potawatomi for helping us out with all of that. Good stuff there as well. Good stuff. Hey, I got an email here, and this one is from a Lefty. Lefty's listening to us in Eau Claire. He said, welcome to God's country. What about packaging up Yelich while he's hot and moving him for prospects, and at least getting out from underneath his salary? He said, by the way, see you at the cigar dinner at Wissota. We're going to be at the Wissota High Shores Supper Club coming up in August. And that's going to be one of our cigar dinners. So coming up in a couple of weeks, I think it's like the first week of July, tickets go on sale. As soon as they do, I'll let you know. But tickets go on sale for the second half of the cigar dinners. We're going to be in Chippewa Falls. We're going to be back at La Crosse at Celebrations. And we're going to be back down at Cortez's in Kenosha. And that is going to round out our celebration of cigars, which is, by the way, kudos to Turtleback. They brought in a big old humidor. Most humidors at golf courses are just a little box, and they give you a selection of maybe 4, and whether or not they're all dried out or not is kind of a hit or miss thing. Kudos to Turtleback. They brought in an actual humidor, an open door, refrigerated glass, quality controlled humidor, and put in a variety of cigars, including, and I know there's not a lot of cigar lovers out there that love Gurkha. I love Gurkha, especially the 17-year dipped in rum Gurkhas. Oh, and the ones that were in whiskeys, or in bourbons, I should say. Whew, I love them. And they got them here. I was fired up to see that. So good stuff from our friends over here at Turtleback. But I will be there. You're not going to package Yelich up. Nobody's going to take, just because he gives you a couple of dingers and suddenly he's up to, I think, 9 now. Nobody's going to say, you know what? Let's go spend $29 million a year on a guy that hits 260 at best right now and gives you between 9 and 17 home runs. Nobody's going to do that. As much as I'd like for that to happen. Now, I will say he's on pace, I think, at like 25 home runs, which would outpace the 18 and a half that I put him at. So kudos to Christian Yelich for upping his game this year. Maybe he's on the bounce back, but yeah, I don't think anybody's going to take Christian Yelich's salary. And again, you're not going to get much in return other than just salary relief. That's it. You take it. Don't get me wrong. If you could unload it, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Merlin says, every closer has a bad game. Williams has been awesome. It's never a good time, but the timing on this blown save couldn't have been worse. Brewers needed this one in the worst way. Just a killer. Just a killer. Team says, yeah, we were wasted. A year wasted playing Kane in his final year so he could reach that 10-year pension incentive. Nice gesture at the cost of us losing games. ESPN Steve with a actual question regarding IndyCar racing says, can you ask Santino Ferrucci, who's coming on the program here shortly, if he is going to sign a long-term contract with AJ Foyt Racing? How about that? You don't get that very often. I will do that. I will ask him. Mike says, don't forget, you don't want to go to those long-term contracts. Bobby Bonilla getting paid $1.1 million until 2035 per year. I know, right? It's like the annual. $1.1 million until 2035. That's amazing, the contract he signed. I might be dead by then. Just, it's 2023. You got another 12 years to go. That'll put me at age, 68? I'll be dead. I never thought I'd live past 40. I'll be dead by then. Bobby Bonilla will be collecting money after I'm dead. That's crazy. Oh, my goodness. Santino Ferrucci going to join us. IndyCar driver. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up. 1 hour down, 3 hours yet to go. We are broadcasting live at Turtleback Golf Course. Beautiful Turtleback Golf Course here in Rice Lake, Wisconsin, in preparation for tomorrow's Rice Lake Celebrity Classic. Stay tuned. We got more. It's all coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Despite a good outing from Brewers pitcher Corbin Burns, going 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, and striking out 8. Christian Yelich collecting 3 hits, 4 RBIs, including 1 home run. And the Brewers having the lead going into the 9th inning. They would fall to the Minnesota Twins at Target Field 7-5 after closer Devin Williams gave up 4 runs, including 2 homers in the loss. The Brewers, who still sit second in the NL Central, 1 game behind the Pirates, will finish up their 2-game set against the Twins this afternoon. To the NFL, yesterday the Packers started their mandatory minicamp, and they had perfect attendance. Head coach Matt LaFleur talks on where his team stands entering these 3 practices.
I really thought the work that the guys that were here throughout the course of the OTAs was exceptional, really all 3 phases, and I feel like we're in a pretty good spot right now. I think in comparison to years past, I think we're in better shape physically. I think, really setting our habits, our practice standards has been exceptional. I think the work ethic's been great, the energy, the attitude, all the things that our guys are in total control of have been outstanding. And so I think we're in a pretty good spot right now.
Practice continues on today before a team bonding exercise on Thursday.
LIUNA stands for the Laborers International Union of North America, a skilled and experienced union with the skills and safety training to be your workforce solution for the Wisconsin construction industry. LIUNA Wisconsin members build infrastructure like roads, bridges, and skyscrapers, as well as solar and wind farms and even pipelines. LIUNA has a long and storied history as they celebrate 120 years as a union. Feel the power of a career as a member of LIUNA. Learn more at liunawisconsin.org.
Wisconsin football's 2024 class now has 14 members after the 3-star offensive lineman out of New York, Colin Cubberley, announced earlier this week. The 2024 class is now ranked number 15th in the country, according to their 24/7 composite. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
We are live. We are at Turtleback Golf Course. We are in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Thanks to our fine affiliate up here in Rice Lake and the Packers, the former Packers, the former Vikings, Brewers, whatever celeb happens to be floating around. They're going to be here tomorrow for the Turtleback Golf Course Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Classic. And we can't say thanks enough to Tom Kozer and the crew for inviting us up here. We're going to be here today, here tomorrow. Then we are traveling to Road America. We're on Friday. We're going to be bringing you the broadcast live as well from Victory Lane. Looking forward to that. And one of the drivers for AJ Foyt Racing joining us now, Santino Ferrucci on the line. Santino, how you doing?
Bill, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay.
How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. The first question is, you were in GQ. They talked about karting and all that kind of stuff, and you're a prodigy. I want to know, on Friday night, it's dark, nothing's going on. Are you creeping over the hill down to the Motoplex and grabbing those golf cart or those little carts and flying around with the other guys racing each other, going back to the old days?
You know what? I grew up racing on that go-kart track inside Road America. And I've actually got some pretty good records there. I have quite a few wins on that go-kart track. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind. That
would be great. I want to see that. Middle of the night, I'm riding around on my bike or golf cart, and all of a sudden there you guys are, going fender to fender down there. That'd be cool. So, first of all, let's talk about your season thus far and how you guys are doing overall.
Yeah. I mean, overall, it's got a lot of ups and downs. I mean, we're trying to figure out our road and street course program. We had a good test with our rookie at Road America the other week. But, so far over program's been phenomenal. We had a great Indy 500 run, almost winning the race in the third. So, man, just can't complain with that. And just excited to focus on the rest of the season and see what we can do.
Talk to me about Indy. And, obviously you came in third, but just to be able to be there near the leaders at the end and to feel that energy. You can talk about a lot of different races, and winning races are great, but there's just something different and special about Indy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we were up front the entire month. It was impressive. Every day we were inside the top 10 or top 5, qualifying fourth. We were one of the only cars to run in the top 5 all day long. It was just, honestly, when you're that competitive there, and you don't win, it's a bit bittersweet. But it's just such a spectacular event, and especially driving for AJ Foyt in the 14 car in a red, white, and blue Homes for Troops livery. It was just unreal. It was such an extremely grateful experience to have.
It's tough to gauge. I mean, first of all, Indy's got a new surface to it, much like Road America does, and it's tough to gauge in Indy. It was kind of a weird weather year. You get a little bit cold, you get a little bit rainy, then it gets hot. The day was perfect when you guys ran. How tough is it to dial a car in when there's so many different weather conditions when you're running and practicing out there all throughout that month, and specifically carburation week leading up to?
Yeah, I mean, the downforce that we ran on Friday was drastically different to what we raced. I mean, we're trying to predict the weather, and we're making adjustments, last-minute downforce adjustments on the car, on the grid on Sunday. So, I mean, you see people scrambling a little bit, and, we just happened to get it right. We're very confident, very comfortable in what we were doing. But, yeah, man, just throughout the month, the first day of practice rained out on Tuesday the week before, and honestly, I was really happy to see that. We really didn't need the extra day of practice. We needed a little bit more time to work on the car. And, I think that's really what catapulted us to be as competitive as we were.
So you go from a massive complex like the Indy 500. Now you come to an undulating road course in Road America, something that you're familiar with. Talk about, first of all, how do drivers like Road America?
I think it's a favorite among drivers. Just because it's an old school style racetrack, it really pays to have those big cojones, if you know what I mean, for the carousel corner, and it's got so much high speed with no room for forgiveness. I mean, it's a fantastic layout. The racing's always good. It's a 3-stop race for us at the minimum, so strategy's huge there. And it's just. We just love it because of the fans. I mean, also, you can't forget the cheese curds in the infield.
That's awesome. So when you talk about the carousel, by the way, the carousel has a beach down there now. Did you know that? Have you been there and seen that? They actually built a beach with palm trees so people can lay out and watch racing. Did you see that yet?
I did not see that. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be sure to check that out when I get up there tomorrow.
Yeah, that's gonna be happening. So coming down from the straightaway down in turn 4 and then hitting hard in turn 5 and then making that hard left to go back up the hill. That's to me, that's probably one of the more dangerous areas on the track, short of Canada Corner in 12. What is it for you? What do you like about the track that you say this is where I can actually make some moves?
I mean, Canada Corner is always a fan favorite for us. I mean, probably one of my favorite corners is the coming down through 4, 5, 6. I just really like that flow, especially coming up over the hill for the blind 5 and the flat 6, because it's so satisfying when you get everything right, because it's such a hard corner to be so consistent at. And then the carousel and qualifying. I mean, you have a good race car, you can take it flat in the IndyCar. And taking the carousel flat is just, it's definitely a little nuts.
Yeah, you don't
have a lot of faith.
You're right. I between the kettle bottoms and just flying through there, or just coming straight up the hill to the start finish line, where you probably hit your top speeds. What is the top speed when you get really going? Now, have you run on this track yet? You said with the new surface.
I haven't run here with the new surface. I've run here. The last time I've actually raced in Road America was 2020, and I had 2 6th place finishes. So it wasn't a bad year for me then. But the new surface, the track is like 4 seconds faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what they were saying. It's faster.
Impressive. Yeah, it's impressive. I'm excited to see what we can do, especially on the alternate tire for Firestone. I mean, dude, it's going to be quick. This is going to be the fastest it's ever been. I think when the track has that much grip, too, we'll be able to follow really close. So hopefully there is a lot of action.
Okay, I got to ask you one thing before I let you go as well. So do you guys get a chance to get out? Like, I know some of the NASCAR drivers a couple of years ago, they were kind of out and about somewhat incognito, and they're driving around with all the camping and such that goes on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday leading into race day. And you get a chance to see, some of the fans that may have your favorite number or something to that effect. And maybe, like you said, you go out, maybe you get a brat, cheese curds, maybe you get a beverage or two. Do you get a chance to go out and mix and mingle a little bit when you're there?
So I always love to go to Seepkins Lounge or Lodge.
Yeah.
Funny enough. So I'll go into Elkhart and go hang out there because it's an old Richard hangout.
Right.
And to see all the memorabilia and stuff in town is just really cool for me. I mean, there's always an event going on too on Saturday night with a bunch of cool cars there. So that's normally where I head if I have some free time, especially after the races. It's just fun. It's just a completely different environment. It really it really makes it feel like you've thrown it back to like the 80s or 90s.
Well, Santino, we do nothing but wish you the best of luck, and maybe you get a little mojo off the show, and then you come back on after the victory. But we appreciate it. Stay safe, and then we will see you at Road America coming up a couple of days, okay?
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on, Bill.
Absolutely. There you go, Santino Ferrucci, IndyCar driver, AJ Foyt Racing, at Santino Ferrucci over on Twitter. And, he grew up on that kart track at the Motoplex down there. So if you're going to be up at Road America this weekend and you want to see what it is I'm talking about, check that out, because I tell you what, whether you're a big kid or a little kid, the Motoplex is awesome. It's just so much fun, and it's down there near the carousel, and just before you get into the bends by turn 11 and the Kinks, but just an awesome place down there, and I can't wait to get to Road America. Looking forward to it. But we are broadcasting live at the Turtleback Golf Course. We are in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. We still got some more festivities going on here. You're going to get a bunch of the former Packers and Vikings and Brewers and voices and such that are going to be here tomorrow on the program. Today might have somebody slide by. Not quite sure, but maybe it could happen. So we will see. I know our buddy Mike Clemens is going to join us towards the end of the program today. Today is the final actual practice day for the Packers, as tomorrow, part of their mandatory minicamp, they are taking off tomorrow, and they're going to go do their, quote, team building exercise or activity or whatever that happens to be. But they're going to do that tomorrow. And so there will not be a practice tomorrow. So today's kind of it for this team to put the helmets on and get out and run around. I think today they're actually going to be outside versus inside because yesterday they had the inclement weather that was rolling through Green Bay. So I know they were inside, but Mike is going to join us coming up in the latter portion of the program. At the bottom of the hour, coming up here in about 18 minutes from now, we're going to hear from Matt LaFleur as he addressed the media today one more time. So we're going to hear from him coming up in a little bit. So that's also going to air. So stay tuned for that. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Old Faithful, Paul Kaufman, former Green Bay Packer, is supposed to make an appearance at the golf course today. He texted me a little while ago and said he's probably going to be out. So if he gets here in time, he's going to swing by the table and say hello. So we'll talk to Paul coming up a little bit later on as well. This hour, locally, here in our Rice Lake community and our friends here in Rice Lake, this hour sponsored locally by our friends at Todd's Ready Mix. I've been doing their commercials for a while now. Todd's Ready Mix here in Rice Lake. For all your landscaping, driveway, and ready mix needs, see my friends over there at Todd's Ready Mix. And when I get out of here, if I get out of here in time, I might take the cruiser and the RV and head over to Todd's Ready Mix and say hello and wave if I can. If I can't, then maybe I'll see the guys out here over at Tom's Place later tonight or maybe even tomorrow. So there you have it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, feel free. Go ahead and give us a shout. Again, 877-867-1670. This is from Mark. Mark said that great interview. You forgot to ask him if he was going to sign a long-term deal with AJ Foyt Racing. I did. That was our buddy Steve, ESPN Steve, who asked that question. I apologize. Completely got away from me. I didn't do my job. I didn't do it thoroughly. I apologize. Effed it up. Had one thing to do, and that was it, and I effed it up. One thing. My bad. Hugo says, I love the motorsports talk. Have you talked about the ASA races going on at the Milwaukee Mile? Big weekend for racing in the state of Wisconsin. We did mention it earlier. This Father's Day weekend, you've got your choice. You want to go see IndyCar at Road America, you can do that. If you want to go see the ASA races, the Milwaukee Mile is going to be roaring again. They're bringing the NASCAR Truck Series to the Milwaukee Mile this year, so that's exciting news. So, and then don't forget the Xfinity Series coming back to Road America again this year towards the end of July, so that's going to be going on. And it is my understanding that while it was originally supposed to be a 2-year deal, speaking of racing, for NASCAR to run through the streets of Chicago, that it's going to be just a 1-year thing. So if that's true, knock on wood, cross your fingers, that NASCAR says this Chicago experience absolutely positively sucked. The city of Chicago is a toilet and a war zone, and we're going to go back to Road America. So we're all kind of holding our breath for after the race in July that NASCAR will make some type of an announcement and say they're coming back to Road America. Just let's hope, because it's a shame that they're not there. It was a great race, and the ticket sales were through the roof. Camping was through the roof. Everything in that area was sold out. It is unlike what they're doing in Chicago, where ticket sales, they could care less. It's a made-for-TV event, not made-for-spectator event. But they keep talking about other tracks that aren't drawing fans and whether or not they deserve to keep races. And my thought the entire time is, wait a minute. You had hundreds of thousands that were packing in to Road America, as opposed to some of these tracks that are 50 and 60,000 that they are not selling half of them. Why would you not go back to Road America? And it's a road course that's just beautiful. So craziness. Let's do this. We're going to step out, take a quick break. Don't forget, we're going to have Matt LaFleur coming up at the bottom of the hour. You're going to hear from him and some of the comments a little bit earlier today. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting live again here at Turtleback Golf Course. We are in beautiful Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Love it up here. Love it this time of year, every year. Awesome. Great to be a part of the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Outing as well. So a lot of fun. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over at the ICHC, the Irish Cultural Heritage Center. Corey and the gang do a great job, but they're trying to get the word out. If you have a wedding coming up and you're looking for a very stoic, very eclectic, very old traditional building, this beautiful old church that's been converted into this stage and into this theater atmosphere. You can get it for that. You can have it for meeting spaces. They have dance halls upstairs. They have a good old-fashioned Irish pub in the back. Whatever it is you're looking for, the ICHC.net's the way to go. And they have concerts specifically in the holiday seasons. So check them out, 414-345-8800 if you're looking for space. And if you're looking for a rental, 414-345-8800. Or just go to ICHC.net. That's ICHC.net. And see for yourself. That's the Irish Cultural Heritage Center. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Welcome to Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. May I take your order?
I'd like 9 windows, please.
Of course. All our products are custom made just for you.
I'm hoping they'll match my home.
Of course they can. Have it your way.
Excuse me? We're talking about windows, right?
Yes, we customize any decor. Our design options are virtually limitless, even more customized than your coffee.
So you're like my personal barista for windows and doors.
Exactly. And you couldn't have picked a better time because if you customize your order by August 31st, you can bundle and save big.
Good deal. That was easy.
Thank you. Drive through.
Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities. Bundle and save when you customize your order by August 31st at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. We are broadcasting live. We're at Turtleback Golf Course. We're in Rice Lake, Wisconsin, and this portion of the program is brought to you by our friends at Lux Golf Bays in Franklin, Wisconsin. The Rock Complex, the Umbrella Bar is open. The Franklin Fields are open, and the Milkmen are playing baseball down there. So plenty to do in that giant complex that continues to grow in the middle of Franklin, Wisconsin. And Lux Golf Bays, 50-plus golf bays that have food service, they have televisions, they have bar service, and you can go down there and get your game on, get your swing on, whether it's just yourself or a group of people, friends, corporate outing, whatever it happens to be. Lux Golf Bays, located in Franklin, Wisconsin. Go to Lux, L-U-X-E, luxgolfbays.com. That is luxgolfbays.com. Mike says, I wish there was a race on Father's Day. I wanted to sit and watch a race. Already bought some Point Amber Lager. He said NASCAR, that is. Oh, yeah. Well, by the way, buying the Point Amber Lager, we are going to indulge in that a week from today. A week from today, the broadcast is going to come to you live from Point Brewing in Stevens Point. That's where we're going to be, as a matter of fact. Scott says, hit the nail on the head. Chicago street race made for TV. Several racing sites and pages have said Chicago street race was pretty much forced on NASCAR by NBC and wasn't NASCAR's idea. Absolutely. From day one, it was an NBC thing. And what happened was, remember last year, the Netflix series came out about Formula One. And it was all the behind the scenes stuff, the drivers, the fighting, watching, the good stories about the drivers. There was just a lot of stuff, right? And it became kind of a hit, not just locally in the States, but internationally. It became a hit, and F1 racing, Formula One racing, blew up. The ratings blew up, and it just became it, right? I mean, IndyCar racing years and years and years ago was it. And then NASCAR, with the Good Old Boy Network, going back to the days of Petty and Dale Earnhardt Sr., and you look at all the big name drivers, the Dale Jarrett's and company, back when they were racing and fighting and all that kind of stuff. That was just awesome, and it was at its peak. And then really, late 80s, early 90s, NASCAR just overtook everything. IndyCar split, and remember they went to Champ Car or Kart. And they ended up splitting. So IndyCar, some of the stars stayed with IndyCar, other stars left for Champ Car. So there was the split, and NASCAR became the most popular. And that was at its height. And again, you had Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Jr. and, Kyle Petty and that was, the onslaught of Jeff Gordon. And when he was at his height, and I mean, and NASCAR was huge. Tony Stewart was another big name and a fighter and a grinder at the time. And it was huge. And then NASCAR slowly began to die off as a lot of the favorites began to retire. IndyCar, Champ Car dissolved. IndyCar kind of came back together and started to find itself again. But there wasn't anything dominating. And then all of a sudden last year, Formula One, they really started to kind of take to the forefront of social media and streaming channels. And they went with a Netflix series, and it showed you all the behind the scenes stuff, and they took off. And all of a sudden IndyCar thought, we're going to be left in the dust. Their attention is, because IndyCar now has a series of their own. I think it's on Vice or something like that, but IndyCar has a series similar to that now, where they're doing some stuff on the cable networks and on Vice streaming. I think it's Vice. If I'm wrong, please let me know. But Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, Terry Labonte, all those guys when it came to NASCAR. But IndyCar started this last year and started also doing some things, but they realized that they need to keep up. So they've got their street races. They just came from Detroit and such. But NASCAR, with all the retirements, the changes, they just haven't been the same for years and years and years. And they're trying now to kind of grab some of that street racing celebrity, so to speak. And that's when NBC said, hey, look, the ratings are down. Road America's a nice place. Okay, who cares? We're going to take it to the streets of Chicago. And Mayor Lightfoot said, let's do it. NASCAR didn't really want to do it, but because of the television rights, they had to. NBC's paying for it, basically, and they're trying to get ratings out of the second, third largest media market in the country to show that there's something there. And it has been a train wreck pretty much from the beginning to try to figure out the course, to shut down the streets. The people downtown absolutely hate it. They don't want it. They think it's garbage. The city's paying for a lot of infrastructure and all of this, and they've got their own problems downtown right now. There are security fears and problems in that area down there. It's an absolute nightmare. And it's Ronald wants to know, is there any chance of a race car being carjacked during the race in Chicago? Right. So anyway, I get it. It's probably going to be a one-off. I was told most likely it's going to be a one-off, and then they'll probably come back to hopefully to Road America. Rick says too many boring tracks, too many commercials, and all of the stage racing and playoff sucks. Yeah, the stage racing, it's not racing. It's like I get it. You get points for what happened to just getting points for having a lead, getting points for running second, getting points for running third. How many laps you lead, all that kind of stuff. You garner points throughout the season. You may not win the race, but if you're leading enough races, you're in there as well. You're recognized as one of the better drivers. The stage stuff, I don't know. Just kind of stupid, for lack of a better term, in my book, anyway. I don't even get it all. I don't even pay close enough attention to completely understand it, but when I watch it and they go, okay, the first stage is over, it's like that. You talk about anticlimactic. It's like having sex with a pillow. Who cares? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free. Go ahead and do so and give us a shout. We'd love to hear from you. This is from Jacob. Jacob says, the Green Bay Packers not practicing tomorrow, ? Are you kidding me? They need all the practice they can get. No. Tomorrow, they're going to do a team building exercise, whether that's paintball or bowling or taking a hike together or rock climbing. Who knows? I don't know what they're going to do, but Matt LaFleur is going to take them somewhere to a undisclosed location, and they're going to go have fun. There is something to be said. Look, there is something to be said for team building. Every company does it. Every corporation does it. And if you don't, you're not doing yourself a proper, so to speak. There is something to be said to get people outside of their element, to put them on teams that they never normally would be paired up with, to work with other individuals, to get to know other people, to, whether it's a veteran that's been there for 10 years or it's a rookie that's just walking through the door, to be able to understand, how to have fun, who can take ribbing, who can't, who's serious, who's not, all that stuff. You figure each other out that way. And then you're able to build upon that throughout the season. There's something to be said for that. Just about every team does it. They do a team building. They do a team building day every year. That says Ronald. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. Now, whether they do it, during training camp or whether they do it during a mini camp or what have you, but just about every team does it. Completely agree with you. So 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, please feel free. Coming up here after the bottom of the hour, we are going to hear from Matt LaFleur, head coach of the Green Bay Packers, on what he's got going on today and maybe a wink and a nod into the team building phase of things. Who knows? This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends over there at Land and Sea Travel and Cruise Planners. Now, cruise planners, they're good people. Kirk is a good guy, and whether it's the ultimate when it comes to a cruise or a vacation overseas, what have you, or maybe it's just a weekend getaway, call them 262-344-0697, 262-344-0697. That is Cruise Planners, Land and Cruise Vacations. You're going to hear from Matt LaFleur coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Get up, get out, get over here, go!
It's the Grand Slam giveaway at Potawatomi. This June, play with your club card and you'll have 4 chances to hit big and slide into home with a share of the show-stopping $400,000 in cash and prizes. 50 winners each Thursday. Step up and knock your luck out of the park. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. More info at paysbig.com/Grand Slam. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
The Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting live. We are here at Turtleback Golf Course. We are in beautiful Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Kind of a hazy day today. Some say it's the smoke coming from Canada. I don't know if that's true or not, but it is a little hazy. Although I will say this, the haze is not terrible because it is keeping the sun down a little bit. It was supposed to be the upper 80s, mid 80s today. Kind of humid. So I'm kind of enjoying the patio where I'm sitting. Wish I had brought a cigar outside with me. Hey, Matt LaFleur, I met with the media just a little while ago. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
You going outside today, and does that mean more 11 on 11 stuff?
We will be outside, but the format will be pretty similar to yesterday.
Are you losing out on anything by not having live stuff?
I just think where we are, you know, you always got to weigh risk reward. Actually, I thought just a lot of the two spot, being able to get more people reps, quite frankly, can be a little bit more beneficial at times. And just, you know, I thought we've had an outstanding off season. All in all, I think we're, like I said yesterday, we're further ahead than I feel like we've really ever been here in terms of a conditioning standpoint. So I'm happy with the progress that our guys have made, and don't want to have any situations that could derail where we're at and get somebody kind of in a bad spot with 40 days before our vets report. So I think the off season is a great opportunity for our guys to, when they do get away from here, they've got to continue to work and put that work in and work on themselves, both physically and mentally. And just, you know, that's something that we did talk about as a staff, though.
Matt, do you do anything with Jordan in this interim, or do you just say, like, get away, decompress, and then be ready to go? Or is there anything that you guys communicate with or talk about or give them any kind of stuff?
Just making sure everybody has a plan, and that's par for the course for all our players.
Workout thing, not necessarily a study thing.
Well, I think it's important for all these guys to, you just don't want to go dormant for, 30 plus days and let your mind, you got to stay on top of this stuff. And certainly I think he does a great job. I think he's shown progress almost on a daily basis. And, but it's going to be important and incumbent on himself to, just to show that initiative and stay in his playbook.
Matt, a couple of weeks ago, Mark Murphy said in an interview, now that we're moving on to Jordan, perhaps we'll run more of, Matt LaFleur's offense. And I know that you stand on Tom, you're always customizing your offense for the player. But in these dozen or so practices, have you seen Jordan get to a certain level, or you're trying to, move him, get him into a mold of the different things you might like to try this fall?
I think the off season is certainly, you have your foundational principles, I would say, but it is a good time to experiment a little bit with certain things. And, quite frankly, that goes on throughout the course of the season, but in particular, OTAs, training camp, to really kind of narrow down once you get into game preparation mode. And then you really want to single out in terms of how do we want to attack and what do our guys do to the best of their ability. And so I don't know really how to answer that, but there's a lot of experimentation as well as evaluation on what we're doing well.
Jordan's had more workouts away from the facility with his pass catchers than Aaron had in the past. Did you see a carryover of that when OTAs began? And
Does that at all affect how you format your practices, knowing that these guys are getting together away from the facility?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it does a lot in terms of how we format our practices, but I do think it's a vital part of it. And just in terms of just building a rapport, not only on the field, but a personal rapport. So how you can best communicate with each other. And certainly the more reps that you get on the field, I think is always beneficial. Just learning how people move and kind of getting the indicators from a quarterback's perspective. I think that's absolutely critical in terms of being able to anticipate and throw on time. So I just think it helps the more reps you get with one another.
Matt, going back to what Mike had asked, is it inaccurate when people say that now they'll run more of your offense because of?
I always laugh at that. I mean, to be honest with you, I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but it's always our offense. And it's not about one person in this building. It's about all of us, all our players, all our coaches, and how we want to attack. And I would say it's a very fluid process. Never want to, sure, we got our core beliefs and our foundational values, but it's how we do what's best for our football team.
Aaron Jones kind of being the most veteran playmaker you've got on that offensive side. I mean, can you or should you make him more of a focal point, at least early on?
Potentially. Yeah, he's a pretty good player. So that is our job, to get our best players the ball. And I think Aaron's definitely proved himself over his career in the National Football League that he can handle a lot of things, not only in the running game, but in the pass game as well, and does a great job in protection and route running, and has shown the ability to be a big-time playmaker. And, what's even more impressive, I would say, is just how he handles himself on a daily basis. He is such a great model for what you want your team to be about. He's all that. He backs up anything he says with what he does. His actions are very, very powerful. I think it's a great, like I said, great role model for all these younger players of what it truly means to be a pro, and just his approach and how he embraces all our players and tries to help them along the way. I can't say enough of great things about him. Just the man he is, the player he is, the son he is, the father he is. He's definitely, I'll throw it out there, he's one of my favorites.
A couple months back, you guys added Derek Coleman into Gray's department. I'm just wondering, somebody with his perspective and obviously unique backstory, what you kind of thought he's brought to football and kind of what you guys are doing here.
Yeah, first of all, Derek Coleman is such an incredible story, and talking about the first deaf offensive player to play in this league. I think just you talk about handling adversity. That's a big part of really all of us in this thing, that there's going to be adversity along the way throughout the season, throughout the course of life. And it's a really cool story just for him to be able to overcome perceived weaknesses, if you will, to be able to play at the highest level. I'd never known him before. I knew of him prior to him coming here. And I definitely think that, he's a tremendous resource for all of us. He definitely loves the game. I think he loves our players. And just, up to this point, he's been a huge asset for us.
Matt, I understand you.
There you go.
Rush anyone back from a torn ACL, but do you ever catch yourself peeking over at Rashawn rehabbing and getting eager about when you might get him back?
Every day. He is another guy that I can't say enough great things about, just in terms of how he approaches anything he does on a daily basis. Certainly, we all see the intensity at which he plays. He is a game wrecker, a guy that can significantly impact whether you're winning or losing. Just his ability to go out there and make plays. And but I just love his approach, his work ethic. him helping out some of the younger guys. He's been very vocal. I just think he's made and wired the right way, and we're definitely lucky to have a guy like that.
There you go. That's some of Matt LaFleur. Let's get back to him when we come back. Some interesting stuff there, though, that I'm going to expound upon coming up the next hour. But because I found some of his comments rather eyebrow raising to a certain extent. So let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get more of Matt LaFleur at the podium with the media. We are broadcasting live. We are here at Turtleback Golf Course in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. This hour locally brought to you by Todd's Ready Mix for all your landscaping, driveway, and ready mix needs. You can see my friends right now over there at Todd's Ready Mix here in Rice Lake and in the Barron County area. Good stuff. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Welcome to Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. May I take your order?
I'd like 9 windows, please.
Of course. All our products are custom made just for you.
I'm hoping they'll match my home.
Of course they can. Have it your way.
Excuse me? We're talking about windows, right?
Yes, we customize any decor. Our design options are virtually limitless, even more customized than your coffee.
So you're like my personal barista for windows and doors.
Exactly. And you couldn't have picked a better time because if you customize your order by August 31st, you can bundle and save big.
Good deal. That was easy.
Thank you. Drive through.
Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities. Bundle and save when you customize your order by August 31st at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting live. We're at Turtleback Golf Course here in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Tomorrow, the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Outing will get underway, and you can have a bunch of the former Packers, former Vikings, some Twins, some Brewers all hanging out here. So a lot of fun. It's always a terrific time. Tonight, the sponsor/celebrity party gets underway, and it's always a great time with stories and fun and seeing everybody, and it's kind of a reunion, and then they get back at it for real tomorrow. And then after the program tomorrow, we're going to be winging our way over to Road America, where we're going to be bringing you the broadcast live on Friday for the IndyCar Series. So a lot of stuff going on over the next couple of days. Matt LaFleur, I wanted to finish this up, and then I want to talk about it coming up the next hour. Matt LaFleur wrapping up, talking with the media before today's practice.
What can you just say about Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden and their progress since they came here, and what have you liked about their progress since they joined the team?
Yeah, it's early. We have no pads on yet, but I think both of those guys have done a really nice job of coming in, first of all, with a great attitude. It doesn't take too long to figure out, and we got a chance to meet Carl in the pre-draft process, had him in here. But Colby, both those guys are great humans, first and foremost, and I think they've gone out there and they're working really hard. I think they have some ability in terms of being able to add some interior pass rush. And we'll see when we get pads on. Like I said, it's really early, no pads, but ultimately we're excited about their potential.
More, please. When's first practice in camp for people who like to plan vacations?
That's a great question for Jason Wallers. I'm worried about today and tomorrow. And I know it's July 25th. I believe. So they haven't put that out there yet? Okay. That's on him. I'm passing the buck there. Sorry, Jason.
Every year.
Matt, what's your message to these guys? Sorry, what's your message to these guys before they get out of here for a month or so, just, in terms of staying on the straight and narrow?
Yeah, I mean, every year there's, and we're going through some of these meetings with the league right now, but every year there's examples of guys not doing the right things. And I think we've got a very mature group, even though we're young. These guys know right from wrong, and you got to handle your business. And I love what Coach Bisacci always says, how players protect their jobs by their performance on the field and their actions off. So our guys have to be a pro when they're away from here. We always talk about you carry that G wherever you go, and certainly that they've got to do that, and they've got to handle themselves the right way. They've got to make sure that they're continuing to put the work in. Like we just told them, there are no days off. You're either going to get better or you're going to get worse every single day. And so when they come back here, we need to see a better version of where they are right now.
How about for you? The players leave.
Oh, I take the whole day off. I mean, every day. No, I'm just kidding. No, it is a good time to kind of relax, unwind, recharge the battery, so to speak, and spend some time with your family, certainly, because we know what's in front of us when we come back here in July. I think our rookies and injured players and quarterbacks are going to be here on the 21st, I believe, and then we'll start practice on the 25th with our veterans. But, it's just, we know once we hit that point, it's go time. And, you got to be very, very deliberate with what we do and intentional about how we practice and how we're trying to improve on a daily basis. So these 30 some odd days or whatever it is that we are away from here, it's just a good chance for us to kind of unwind and be with our families.
I mean, all you guys are driven, which is how you got to your position. Is it hard to say, like, on July 6th to put aside that pull to go do something football?
Well, I think I know for myself, I always have my iPad on me. I enjoy trying to read and try to think of new things that you might want to present to the team when we come back together. And so it's not like you're totally unplugging, but you are out of the building for the most part.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
So there you go. That was Matt LaFleur wrapping up his presser for the day today. And some interesting stuff that I want to go over coming up in the next hour. I thought it was you and I and everybody have been sitting here talking about the offense and the Matt LaFleur offense and whether or not it was being run. And we all just assumed that it was run differently because, Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback. And he was kind of calling some of his own things. At least that was the perception. And he, time and again said, no, it's Matt's offense, whatever Matt's calling, I'm running. And there were even times where things weren't working. And Rodgers even kind of threw his arms out and said, hey, I'm just a quarterback type of thing. The same thing Favre did years ago. So I thought it was interesting when he said, and Mike Clemens asked the question because it was Mark Murphy on this program that said that he's interested in the season to see, the full version of the Matt LaFleur offense. And so for that to be stated and then Matt LaFleur to say, I kind of laughed at that. I thought that was interesting because he said, no, we run our offense to, kind of whoever's best suited to run it at that time. And for whatever the plays are that are called, and on and on and on. But I want to get into that. We're going to talk about that. Paul Kaufman, the former tight end of the Green Bay Packers, getting ready to tee off here in just a few short minutes. So before he does and before the tournament gets underway tomorrow, going to grab Paul, the former tight end of the Packers. We got a lot more to come. 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. We are broadcasting live. We're at Turtleback Golf Course here in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Stay tuned. A whole lot more coming up. And it's coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers are back on the field for the second and final practice of their mandatory mini camp. That includes quarterback Jair Alexander. The All-Pro did not take part in OTAs, which are voluntary. He told reporters yesterday that he stayed in Green Bay until April, left during the offseason program, and now will be back for most of the summer. So why stay when everyone else gets away?
I like to be here, just because I feel like I get the best work. When no one's here, and it's quiet, I can go in Lambeau all day. Quiet, it's like you have no choice but to find peace.
Alexander gave up $700,000 by not taking part in the offseason program. So what would have taken him to come to that?
To come to offseason, I'd probably say I would have definitely been here for 10. Yeah. Definitely been here for 10. Definitely.
But not 700.
I think I just know what I got going. I think it won't work.
The Packers had a chance for 3 practices this week, but Coach Matt LaFleur is instead choosing to do a team-building exercise away from the field tomorrow. After that, they are off until training camp gets going July 26th. LaFleur said today that quarterbacks and injured players are going to report July 21st, everyone else coming in on the 25th. Turning to the Badgers, their recruiting class sitting at number 13 in the country for 2024. Wisconsin has 14 commits, expecting several more here the rest of the month.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
As the #1 farm insurer in Wisconsin, Rural Mutual Insurance is rewarding their farm policyholders for their loyalty and commitment to Wisconsin agriculture through their farm dividend program. The farm dividend pays up to 5% back on your farm premium. Visit ruralmutual.com to learn how you could qualify.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Brewers and Twins are closing out their quick 2-game series this afternoon in Minneapolis. Minnesota scored 4 runs in the bottom of the ninth to beat Milwaukee last night. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Welcome back. The noon hour. Bill Michaels Show. Good to have you. This hour brought to you by locally here from our friends in Rice Lake by Todd's Ready Mix for all your landscaping, driveway, ready mix needs. See the good guys, good girls, good friends over there at Todd's Ready Mix. Joining us here at the table on the deck at Turtleback is our buddy Paul Kaufman, the former tight end of the Green Bay Packers. How you been?
Love coming back.
Yeah?
You know, you got all this smoke here.
I know, right? It's like somebody's got a brisket on. We just can't find it.
Yeah, it's where's the cookout? You know, we're famous for barbecue in Kansas City, but
right.
So, you know, kind of looks like you're barbecuing up here.
Now you got up at 4 a.m. to catch a flight out of Kansas City to fly to Minneapolis, to drive from Minneapolis to Rice Lake, and then you're going to go play around the golf with Lynn Dickey.
You bet. You know, I could have done that in Kansas City,
right?
But, we're up here, but my son Chase is with us. David and Charlie Whitehurst are coming in soon, and actually, you know, David and I played together, and David threw me passes, and then Chase and Charlie played together in Tennessee, and Charlie completed passes to Chase. And last year we auctioned off a ball that was signed by all four of us. And
oh, wow.
We think that could be the only time in NFL history that fathers played together and completed a pass, and sons played together, completed a pass to one another.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
One of those, you know, very obscure statistics.
Trivia.
Yes.
Useless trivia.
You know, obviously all the talk is Packers and Rodgers going to New York, and the cloud is lifted and everything. Do you get bombarded with that everywhere you go?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How the Pack going to do this year?
Yeah.
You know, it's a wait and see thing. You know, Jordan Love taking over. Obviously, he was drafted number one for a reason. We haven't seen, you know, too much of him yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's had that wow moment
right.
the few times he's been in. So, you know, there's a big question mark. They filled some holes in their draft. You know, losing Robert Tonyan, drafted some tight ends, and you know, it'll be an interesting season, but it's right now it's wait and see.
How important in today's passing game is the tight end playing that position?
Yeah, I even, you know, back when I played, I was kind of the security blanket. And again, when Lynn got hurt, David took over, young quarterback, and he's like, you know, James is downfield. You know, John Jefferson's downfield. I got that tight end about 8 yards over the middle that I can dump it to. So, you know, and gosh, the guys today, you know, 6'6", 6'7", big targets. And, you know, for a young quarterback, especially, you know, he's the guy that's the security blanket that, that he can go to the quarterback.
You were a safety blanket. Mm-hmm. Today, they're almost looked at as just guys that were too big to play wide receiver. So this is what we're going to do.
And not big enough to play tackle.
That's it. Yeah.
Except for Mercedes Lewis. He was
right.
But yeah, I mean, my son Chase played tight end in high school, the University of Missouri. He never put his hand on the ground. He was a stand-up. He's 6'6", and he was a mismatch. If you'd put a linebacker on him, he was more athletic. If you'd put a a DB on him, he was just bigger. He could body up like Jokic, you know, in the middle. You know,
exactly.
Just a big body that you could throw the ball into. And so that's, you know, like I watched Travis Kelce in Kansas City, and you know, he never gets held up on the line. I mean, that was one of the biggest things for me, is just getting off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
You know, we played the Bears, and they had that Bear defense. I'd have Wilbur Marshall on one shoulder and Otis Wilson on the other. And their job was to mug me and hold me up to give that D line time to get to Lynn. And, you know, so, yeah, it's a different game for tight ends.
I was sitting here the other day. I was talking about the best quarterbacks in Packer history, and when you start to look at the best quarterbacks, the guy that gets overlooked a lot is Lynn. Talk about Lynn being a quarterback and playing with him. And I'm not necessarily the off the field antics, but more the on the field and how good he really was.
Just so smart, so accurate. He went to Kansas State before I did. He was, you know, had broken his leg the 77 season, last game in County Stadium. And he wasn't really there a lot my rookie year, but then when he came back my second year, I would sit by him in the meetings. And first couple years, it's all you can do to learn what you do on the plays. Well, Lynn would explain to me why I was running this route, what the defense was trying to do to stop us, what he would read as a quarterback. And I just felt that was so helpful to me to sit by him because he knew everybody's position. He knew what everybody did on every play, and he was accurate. If you were open, he put the ball in a place where you could catch it. There was no like reaching for it. I mean, it was just, right in there. And the way he threw the deep ball, you look at some of James Lofton's highlights. I mean, here's one of the fastest men on the field streaking down the sideline, and Lynn lays it in there 40 yards down, and just perfect. And he was accurate. People say he wasn't that mobile. Well, he was pretty mobile, but he wasn't a running quarterback,
right.
As today's some of the running quarterbacks that you have out there. But he's so accurate, so smart, and he would let you know if you made the mistake.
Right.
There's one time he's pointing at me going, come here,
right.
come.
So living down in Kansas City, just as exciting down there with a championship in the back pocket?
Yeah, they're putting it together. Andy Reid has done a great job, and Brett Beach, their general manager, drafting people, drafting needs. And I think, people say, well, they let Tyreek Hill go, what's going to happen? But you look at the New England model when they were in their prime, they never hung on to players too long, and they never overpaid players.
Right.
They would take some heat from letting, a Junior Seau or somebody go that was older. But I think they kind of knew that, he might have 1 year left. We can get something for him and not overpay and build our team that way. And I think that's what the Chiefs have done.
Do you like the movement now that the Packers, the direction the Packers are heading after life after?
Yeah. Gosh, Aaron, one of the best quarterbacks ever, again, so accurate. I mean, just the way he would flip his wrist and the ball would be down the field 30 yards, and he and Devontae had such a chemistry going. But I guess there's a shelf life or there's a time.
Right.
And I think it was time to move on. And I think it's going to take a little while to rebuild. And hopefully, Jordan can make the strides that are needed.
You like this time of year? I mean, summer in Wisconsin, coming back and getting to play. Like, you were just going through the list. You were in Wausau, you were in Milwaukee. Now you guys are here playing a lot of golf and doing a lot of charitable events.
Right. It's so fun to come back up here. A few years ago, David Whitehurst and I were at Mike McCarthy's tournament in Madison for the Children's Hospital there. And we were up getting a beer, and a couple ladies were in line, and they turned around and said, "Oh, thank you. Thank you guys for coming back." And David, this is the perfect line. He said, he said, at home, we're fathers, we're husbands, we're businessmen, we have responsibilities. But when we come to Wisconsin, we get to be Green Bay Packer skin. So thank you. And that's the way I feel. I mean, gosh, we never won a Super Bowl, a championship when I was in Green Bay, but I never played in front of a crowd that wasn't sold out.
Right.
And just the unconditional love that the Packer fans have for their team, the way they supported us. It's like, if I can give back by showing up at a few charity events here and there, why not? Sign me up.
Have you? I was cruising around last year, and I'll tell the full story tonight. And something happened, and I said, that's the story that I'm going to use the night of the celebrity and the sponsorship golf outing party in Rice Lake. So I've been saving it.
Uh-oh.
So, and the question is, because Paul Kaufman always has a story. Have you crafted your story for this evening?
My story is going to be a little different this year, and hopefully it'll be
clean.
Yes, very, very. Hopefully, I mean, in today's generation, it's like somebody gets offended no matter what you say or do. So,
and that's just, you got to say, I don't care anymore. You just kind of go throw it out and see what happens.
Yeah.
So you've crafted something. You're ready to go.
Well, every time I've come up here and I've told a story, and I'm going to make a confession tonight that a lot of the stories I told really weren't true. But tonight's story is actually going to be true.
Unless, of course, Lynn falls out of the golf cart in a hilarious story that you can share that with us tonight as well. Always good to see you, man. I appreciate you stopping by. I know you're going to go tee off, but I'm glad you said hi.
Yeah, you bet. Again, just to come back up here and the unconditional love that the Packer fans have. And, we have our brothers across the border here from Minnesota, so we can go back and forth with some of the old stories. And, it's always fun to come back to Wisconsin.
Yeah, because this is a little different. You have, it's not just Packers. It's Packers, a few Brewers, a few Minnesota Twins, a lot of Vikings. Yeah, they all come over here too.
Yeah. We have some Brewers at the Lombardi, and some speed skaters, and we do one in Lake Geneva for juvenile diabetes. And I'm surprised they don't get more Bear people to that one, because that's right on the border there. So.
Well, they've been losing for so long now, and they're not, they don't want to show their face. I get it.
Well, anytime you talk to a Bear fan, it's like, well, 1985. I go, 1985.
Right. It's what they're living on, man. No doubt. Yeah. Well, good to see you. Go tee off. Go enjoy yourself, and I'll see you over at the party tonight.
All right. God
buddy.
Bless.
All right, there you go. Let's take a quick break. That's Paul Kaufman, former tight end of the Green Bay Packers. We'll be back next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Welcome to Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. May I take your order?
I'd like 9 windows, please.
Of course. All our products are custom made just for you.
I'm hoping they'll match my home.
Of course they can. Have it your way.
Excuse me? We're talking about windows, right?
Yes, we customize any decor. Our design options are virtually limitless, even more customized than your coffee.
So you're like my personal barista for windows and doors.
Exactly. And you couldn't have picked a better time, because if you customize your order by August 31st, you can bundle and save big.
Good deal. That was easy.
Thank you. Drive through.
Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities. Bundle and save when you customize your order by August 31st at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show. We are live. We're at Turtleback Golf Course. We're in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Nice Ash, theniceash.com. Downtown Waukesha, 323 West Main Street. Waukesha's best cigar bar. Really, to me, I'll be honest with you, I think it's the best cigar bar around, period, hands down. Great entertainment on the weekends, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And you never know what you're going to get. You could get just an acoustic. You could get a full-blown band. You can get jazz band, blues band. You get all kinds of good stuff down there. So kind of a potpourri of entertainment. And whether it's bourbons and whiskeys, which they have a whiskey club and a bourbon club. They have a huge walk-in humidor down there, the different flavors for hookahs. So a tremendous place to go. And as a matter of fact, I would not be lying if I said I have more than a few cigars in the RV from Nice Ash. So can't wait till a little bit later on the night to sit down with some of those. That's theniceash.com. Theniceash.com, as they say, get your ash in here. So there you go. So a couple of things I wanted to go back to from Matt LaFleur from a little bit earlier and some of the notes. He, first of all, discussed the fact that they have had an outstanding offseason. Now, remember, Matt had said that they are taking it slow as far as installation goes to make sure that everybody's up to speed. But then he said today they are further ahead than they have been recently and happier with the progress. And I had to, and again, I don't want to sit here and nitpick every word. But I thought, boy, that's an interesting statement, considering that he had stated that they were going to kind of take it slow. They, just because, obviously you don't have the veteran quarterback anymore, so not everybody has the depth of knowledge and or understanding. And yet today he said it's been an outstanding offseason. They're they're further ahead, and he's happier with the progress. That made me sit up and take notice. He did talk about Jordan Love. He very much, between him and when we had Mark Murphy on the air with us a couple weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago, kind of tempered the excitement and the enthusiasm. I said Jordan has shown progress. And then he kind of, after that, when, the media was asking a couple of different questions about Jordan Love and about the offense, he just very much, hey, we're putting in things for Jordan. We're putting, going to utilize his talents. And, it sounded like, on one hand, he's excited to be coaching and excited to be drawing things up that are going to be utilized more towards Jordan Love than, say, from Aaron Rodgers. But when he was asked, and Mike Clemens went into, the interview that we did with Mark Murphy, when Mark Murphy said, hey, we're excited. Aaron had done a lot of great things for us, put us in a lot of great positions to be successful. But now we get a chance to see, more of, quote, the Matt LaFleur style of offense. And, Matt was asked about that. And Matt said that he laughs at that when they say they're going to see more of the Matt LaFleur offense, because he said it's a fluid process. Now, the one thing I will say, and this is another, kind of a cul-de-sac of a conversation here, a different avenue to go down, is the Matt LaFleur offense is, you would assume, an offshoot of the Shanahan offense. And we haven't seen a lot of these different reverses and a lot of these different, the utilization, we'll say, of the speed. We have seen some. Christian Watson early on was used as kind of an end-around guy, We've seen that with different players. We've seen some of that. But we haven't seen a lot of the different reverses, a lot of the different sets, guys in motion, different action. We haven't become accustomed to that the way they have out in San Francisco, okay? So it's interesting that we haven't seen a lot of the, quote, true Matt LaFleur offense. And Matt says, well, I don't know what that means. And I don't know if he's playing coy or if he really is legitimately trying to temper expectations. Like, don't think that we're going to come out and start doing double reverses and, numerous, men in motion and all these different things. So I'm very anxious to see what the offense is going to look like. And especially, they've been doing a lot of things behind closed doors as not to, quote, give things away, give, information away. So I'm going to be anxious to see that. And then, later on, he talked about Aaron Jones. And Aaron Jones, the question was basically, hey, he's a veteran. So, and you're going to need, because you have youth at the wide receiver, you have youth at the tight end, you're going to need your veteran. You're going to need your guy, your pass catcher out of the backfield. And said the question was, is he going to be more of a focal point? And his one-word answer was potentially. And then after that, he went into how much he likes, Aaron Jones and what he does and, the representation of the team and, how he's a, good father, good son, on and on and on. But he just said potentially. You would assume he's going to be, right? I think we would all assume that. But he said potentially. So just some of the takeaways from what Matt LaFleur had to say, and I thought it was a little more, the questions were a little more in depth today about some of the specifics. But I found that answer because here's the other thing. I found the answer about the Matt LaFleur offense when he says, "Oh, I laugh at that," because that was brought from a quote from team president Mark Murphy, who said, Aaron, he gave Aaron a lot of credit, and then he says, almost as if to say a lot of the things that we've been thinking, that, well, maybe that offense was catered more towards Aaron Rodgers, his knowledge, and what Aaron liked to do, rather than just what Matt wanted to do, right? That's kind of what we were thinking. And Matt kind of said he laughed at that. So I don't know if Matt did a little dancing so he didn't have some type of angst from Aaron Rodgers, because he could have come out and said, hey, yeah, things are going to be different. He had an opportunity right then and there to say things are going to be different and things are going to be, more to my liking and more to Aaron Jones and more to, more for, Jordan Love and more mobile or whatever, then obviously with today's, culture of Red China, they're not going to give away state secrets. But he didn't allude to any of that. He didn't open up about any of that. He just said he laughs at the notion or at the thought that it's going to be more of the Matt LaFleur offense, which I find rather interesting. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, do it. 877-867-1670. Go back to the live stream. Rick says, I think his playbook's the same, but I expect more some jet sweeps, play action, just a higher percentage of those particular plays of run plays. Possibly. I just, a few RPOs. Maybe utilizing a little more of the athleticism. And like I said, I think you would also, just to get Jordan Love into a rhythm and into a confidence, you also would move him around to where you're just cutting down half of the field, to where he's not having to look at everything and absorb everything, just getting comfortable, get him into a rhythm early on, and then maybe you open things up after the fact. But then again, the guy's been there for, 3 years going on 4, right? If you don't know it by now, you're never going to know it. But I just found some of those answers a little bit interesting. Merlin says, LaFleur said last year that the offense was his when people kept implying that Rodgers was going rogue, maybe more the truth than what people want to admit. I would find it hard to believe that the consistency of going deep on 3rd and 2 and 2nd and 2 that carried over from the Mike McCarthy era during the James Jones, Greg Jennings, then over to Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, into that phase. I find it hard to believe that that's going to just carry philosophically through a coaching staff, through every different receiver that they've had. It was maddening many times. I'm going to see now if they're utilizing Musgrave, the tight end, or if they're utilizing guys, Jaden Reed over the middle or what have you, or if you're going to see more of a pass catcher coming out of the backfield in those situations just to move the sticks and allow the offense, 1, to stay on the field a little bit longer, 2, to keep your defense off the field a little bit longer, and then 3, to get Jordan Love and the offense into a rhythm and out of high percentage plays. So that's kind of what I think people are talking about in that sense. And again, that's not just the only example, but I think it's certainly one of. No doubt. 877-867-1670. We are broadcasting live. We're in Rice Lake. Turtleback Golf Course is the place here tomorrow for the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Outing, and plenty of celebrities are going to be on hand tomorrow. And you just heard from Paul Kaufman a little while ago. You've got Willie Buchanan's going to be here. Lynn Dickey's going to be here. Gary Ellis is going to be here. Philip Epps is going to be here. Marv Fleming, Tiger Green. You got, Eddie Lee Ivory, Ezra Johnson going to be here. Chester Marcall is going to be here. The Hall of Famer Dave Robinson's going to be here. You've got Paul Krause, the safety, and an NFL Hall of Famer from the Vikings is going to be here. The running back Ricky Young is going to be here, just to name a few. So you got a lot of guys, and some Jimmy Gantner from the Brewers is going to be here. He's expected to be here tomorrow as well. So you got a lot of those celebs that are going to be on the golf course here tomorrow. Let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a lot more to get to. Again, broadcasting live here in Rice Lake at the Turtleback Golf Course. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got to hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket. Hit it, bang it, rock it, put it
Good to have you back. Broadcasting live. We're at Turtleback Golf Course. We are here in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. And you know what, Tom? Come over here. I want to throw you on the air. Tom Kozer, who is the I'm going to say the entertainer extraordinaire, has the radio stations up here, the cluster, and puts on this tournament and does so much community-wise. How you been, buddy?
Great, Bill. It's so great to have you back here.
A Wisconsin Broadcasting Hall of Famer.
Well, don't let that out. I mean, they apparently they lowered the standards so low that anybody can get in. But it's great to have you back here, Bill.
No, it's good. I'm glad. This is kind of like
this
is like Puxatawny Phil, man. You come out of the hole, you see your shadow, you head north, you go to Rice Lake, man. It's
it was
awesome.
great to see that you brought the cruiser as well.
Yeah. We'll have to get you a tour. You can just go break into it when I'm working. Just don't plug up the toilet.
No, I won't. I won't use the shower either.
Okay.
But
hey, you do such a great job up here. Talk about this tournament because this is so cool. The story basically was that there were so many different things that were in need and nobody was raising a ton of money, but you kind of stepped in and said, hey, let's do one big thing and we'll give everybody money.
The kids organizations, all have their own golf event, and it was getting to be the point where you're in a small market like Rice Lake, we're about 16,000 or so, and the county's only 50,000, and all the same business people were kind of getting hit up to sponsor all the time. And so we thought, hey, let's just get the synergy of everybody working together. All the executive directors of the kids organizations got together, were willing to work together and everything, and I said, hey, let's make it huge. Let's bring in some celebrities, some guys that everybody knows, and then they can the sponsors can kick in once, and all the money then goes to the kids. And the net result has been that each of the organizations who gave up their event are now getting double to nearly triple the amount of money that they had before. So that's what we're really thankful for.
You guys did an event on Tuesday, correct?
Yes.
And then we're here today, and then
the Family Fun and Fitness Fest.
Yeah,
and that's for everybody. Golf is kind of limited because it's limited to a certain number. We only have 36 teams that you can fit on the golf course, and that gave the rest of the community an opportunity to come out and have some fun, and that was good.
Yeah, and then you get all these. Now, how do you go about getting everybody? Because I was coming up yesterday, and I'm talking to a buddy of mine in Kansas City, oddly enough, and he says, "Well, how does he get all of them together to go from Vikings and Twins and Brewers and Packers, plus some others along the way. How do you get them all?
Yeah, we're really fortunate. We got a couple of really good connections. Lester Bagley, who is an executive vice president of the Vikings, put him in charge of building the stadium, and then they built the practice facilities. And he's a high school classmate of mine from the town just down the road here, Barron.
Yeah.
And so I've known Lester for years, and asked him if he'd get involved, and he was. He was excited to do it, and the Vikings organization pays for 3 guys to come up here and do this, and then Paul Krause of the Vikings kind of does that with the Vikings legends. He'll organize deals. So Paul's, gotten us a bunch of Vikings Hall of Famers, and it's been really great. And then Jim McHugh of McHugh Events. We've been working with Jim for a lot of years on doing bus trips to Packer games, and Jim's got a lot of connections in Green Bay, and knew Tom Murphy from the Packer Hall of Fame, and so Jim has really put together a lot of the Packers. He contacts the ex-Packers, and then we got a few connections with some Major League Baseball guys that we picked up over the years, and just some people that I've gotten to know and who have been so generous with their time to come up.
Yeah, it's always been a rotation of guys. Some faces are every year.
Yeah.
But it's always been a cool rotation of guys. Some new too that get involved and come up every year, and have kind of made this an annual now, which is really nice. And like I said, you raise money for so many different charities. It's easy to say it's for one or the other, but you do children's charities and spread the wealth all throughout the community, because you're right, 16,000 people and business owners. That's tough to support everybody, but at least there's one event that does it.
And it's kind of like, you can think of it the United Way of kids organizations, nonprofits, and there's 25 of them that we support. And last year we raised, we were able to distribute 125,000 for the kids. Huge. And I think this year we're going to set that record. It's going to go a little bit above and beyond that. We have such great support from the late Foster Freeze, family who's Foster's been, from Rice Lake here, and he was one of the top financial guys in the world. And his wife Lynn has continued to support us and as a title sponsor. And then we've just had such an amazing community support. I mean, it really is. Everybody in the whole community has really supported this event for the kids.
Here's my question. All the fields, I was going around a roundabout coming out here today, and it's brown and dead. I mean, there's like four thistle bushes in it, and that's about the extent of it. This golf course looks amazing. Is this just because the great Tom Kozer called up and said, hey, I need some water shipped up here so we can have a golf tournament?
Hey, easy on the great, will you? We're fortunate. The guys that own this golf course, and well, first of all, Mark Johnson of Rice Lake Weighing Systems built this place a number of years ago, and really turned it into this kind of course way it is, and put a lot into it. And then it was owned by an out-of-town company for a number of years that didn't take care of it as well. But the new owners are local. Aaron Resnick, Bruce Crotto, South Lake Motors. They knew the history of it, and they continue to take care of this place. It's lush, it's green for as much as like you said, for as much as it can be for when you don't have any rain for forever, and the conditions really are immaculate, and they've hats off to them, that we can have a first-class event like this, and everybody really enjoys it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. What I'm looking forward to most is tonight, because you told me, and I asked him. Paul said that some of his stories in the past have not always been true.
Yeah.
He said whatever he's going to say tonight is true.
Oh, this one's true.
He said this one's true. I said, unless, of course, Lynn Dickey falls out of the golf cart today, and then that's the story that'll be true, but, that'll be probably take precedent. And he just kind of laughed at that. And he said, so tonight you'll have to listen. So.
Well, I had
that's to me, as much money is raised, it's just the benefit, and the kids it's great. But I look forward to tonight.
The celebrity dinner is a lot of fun, to get everybody out there and all be under the tent, cater it in. It's just a lot of fun. And everybody just gets to tell stories and hang out because they don't get to see each other a lot.
Right.
And the stories really go, as you know. And I saw Paul, I had dinner with Paul and Lynn Dickey down in Kansas City a few weeks ago.
Yeah, because your son was playing down there.
For
those that don't know, his son plays professional golf as well.
So, he was there playing a Corn Ferry Tour event, and Lynn and Paul and I got together for dinner. And I said, no, Paul, you got your story ready this year, right? But it's almost ready. I've been working on this for a while. It's almost ready, but I got 3 weeks, he said. So, and you got one ready tonight, right?
I do. I had something happen I told Paul the same thing. Something happened last year, and it was just such an incredibly weird deal.
Yeah.
And I said, I am saving this And I will not tell it anywhere else. I'm gonna,
tonight, this is it. This is like the debut deal.
The problem is that I had one a couple of years ago, and admittedly it was not for children.
Well,
but
there weren't kids there.
There weren't kids there,
right?
But Paul goes up, and usually Paul's had some stories that have been rather racy.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'll follow Paul. This is great because mine will be mild compared to his. And he tells some Disney story that made you laugh. And I'm like, I'm going to walk up with the F-bombs and I'm going to like trash coming in behind Paul Kaufman. I felt bad, but it went over well.
Well, so nobody left. Nobody got out and walked out. So we're looking forward to the story today.
No. So we're looking forward to it. And who caters tonight, by the way?
Turtleback. Is going to, we want to do a shout out to Adventures in Rice Lake who catered for many years.
Yeah.
On-site seared ahi tuna and all that. I mean, they were fabulous. So we want to thank, Bruce and Catherine Good for all those many years of catering, and Turtleback does a wonderful job. They'll bring over a great dinner tonight, and Dick Leinenkugel has got his Leinie's beer trailer all set up.
Yep, I saw Dick running around a little earlier. Yep. Yeah,
so that'll be fun. He's got
the great Dick Leinenkugel of the great Dick Leinenkugel family,
one of the Leinie's brothers,
Dick and Jake.
Jake, yep, and Jake has been here for a number of years, and so we've been fortunate every year to have a Leinenkugel kind of host the celebrity dinner.
Yeah,
so and Dick will be there tonight. It'll be
awesome.
fun. He's retired now.
Yeah, he was retiring last year when we talked to him. He said this was going to be it.
Retired, and I asked him if every day was Saturday or every day was the first day of vacation. He said,
okay.
Try to figure it out.
Yeah, you don't know. Once you retire, it's just a day. You're just happy to wake up. You're above the dirt. Euchre used to tell me that all the time. He's like, I'd say, hey, Bob, how you doing? I'm above the dirt. Yeah. And that's all you worry about, you know? So there you have it.
Thanks for coming back.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Glad to be here. And it's a wonderful event. You guys deserve a lot of, all the credit because you guys put it on and do a wonderful thing. So it's a pleasure to be here.
We appreciate everybody who comes. A number of people say they heard it on the Bill Michaels show and they come up and play. They come to Turtleback.
Oh, that's awesome. You know what?
We appreciate everybody doing that.
Just being here, I will get 3 or 4 people over the next 2 months that'll say, hey, I never knew it was there. And it really is. I mean, a lot of the different places we go, whether it's Pine Mountain here, Wild Ridge, Claire, a couple of different places, Viroqua, they'll go play and they'll say, I never knew this kind of a golf course was available in these small towns.
Wisconsin's got good golf.
Oh, it's got great
good
golf
stuff.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. And
Thanks,
you're going over to Elkhart Lake?
Yeah.
And you're going to be talking about Hall of Famers and greatness that you're welcoming into your club.
Wisconsin Broadcasters Association Summer Conference happens to be this week. It's usually not on this week. So after we kick everything off tomorrow, I'll do the introduction of celebrities here and we'll do all the kickoff ceremonies. And then I'll jump in the car with Diane. We'll go down to Elkhart Lake and I'll jump into a tux and then MC the Broadcasters Hall of Fame.
Are you staying there?
Induction ceremony.
Because we'll be down there right after you.
We could caravan.
If you want, well, I got space. You can sleep you and Diane can sleep in the bunk on top of the RV.
We could if you got somebody to fly us back.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do that. I think we got people for that. We can find a sponsor, man.
You probably could.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead.
Ted Kellner. Actually, we'd get Ted.
Yeah.
Take Ted.
Larry McCarron's a pilot, too.
Okay.
We can call Larry.
Yeah. If
he'd be happy to.
Either one, if they pick us up down there and heck, we'd even, we'd get to where Larry is.
Yeah, absolutely. You can do that.
He's a Hall of Famer, so he might be there.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's true. I was just happy. What was it? It was 2 years ago. Was it the Harbor up in Sheboygan?
Yes.
Who was the gentleman that said he gave me credit in his speech?
Wayne Larrabee?
No, it wasn't Wayne.
It
was an older gentleman. And I this is terrible. I forget his name off the top of my head.
Oh, was it
it was the gentleman that spoke just before Wayne.
Mr. Growth.
I think it
Engineer.
was. Yeah, yes,
it was.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's right. He talked about your show.
Yeah.
And the satisfaction of being able to hear, a rising superstar at that time become a full-fledged superstar.
It was funny because Kristen leans over next to me and she goes, he just gave you credit in his Hall of Fame speech. And I said, I know.
That's
and
right.
She goes, that's as close as you're ever going to get.
No, not true. We've got a movement on right now, in getting enough petitions signed.
Okay.
We got to get the great Bill Michaels in the Hall of Fame.
I see them on telephone poles everywhere throughout the Rice Lake
Better
area.
than post offices.
Right. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Tom Kozer joining us here and puts on this wonderful tournament every year. We're live at Turtleback Golf Course. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Welcome to Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. May I take your order?
I'd like 9 windows, please.
Of course. All our products are custom made just for you.
I'm hoping they'll match my home.
Of course they can. Have it your way.
Excuse me? We're talking about windows, right?
Yes, we customize any decor. Our design options are virtually limitless, even more customized than your coffee.
So you're like my personal barista for windows and doors.
Exactly. And you couldn't have picked a better time because if you customize your order by August 31st, you can bundle and save big.
Good deal. That was easy.
Thank you. Drive through.
Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities. Bundle and save when you customize your order by August 31st at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show. We are live. We're at Turtleback Golf Course. We are in Rice Lake, Wisconsin for the Rice Lake Celebrity Open. For those that are watching on the live stream, the guy swinging his arms, that's Paul Kaufman. You've got David Whitehurst, Charlie Whitehurst. You got guys pulling up over there that, a bunch of the celebs that are going to be teeing off tomorrow are here today. The guy that's behind the golf cart in the yellow pullover, that's Lynn Dickey. So a lot of guys here hanging out. So if you're watching on the live stream, there you go. Yeah, there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, feel free to go ahead and do so. Just catching up on some emails from a little bit earlier today during the show. Our buddy Steve says, hey, I was in Minocqua last week and the weekend. Thermocells are nowhere to be found. The best bet, order one online. I have a handheld and a bigger one for the deck, and I swear by them. Looks like a lot of fans, and I'm pretty disgusted by the recent play of the Brewers. However, they still have 95 games left to play. A Major League Baseball season sees swings in both directions. The Crew started out hot. Now they're in a bit of a slump. Sooner or later, they're going to break out of it and go on a 5-15 run, and everybody that had written them off is going to be back in the bandwagon. I do believe, however, that Matt Arnold needs to find a bat that can be a consistent 260 to 270 hitter. I also would like to see them move Yelich to DH. That throw into second last night was the biggest lollipop I've seen in a long time. Let's get a W today. Split the series. Be good to go. There you go. That's our buddy Steve listening to us. So certainly appreciate it. This is from Joe. Joe says, I would like to see the Green Bay Packers pick another veteran wide receiver. Is there anybody else out there besides DeAndre Hopkins? Not really. Not really. He's probably the biggest name that's hanging on out there. I mean, if somebody gets cut and, they just, most of the bigger cuts, most of the bigger cuts have already happened. So unless somebody gets, no, to answer your question, I'm trying to figure out a scenario in my head in which somebody's going to be available, but no, not going to happen. It's pretty much, this is what it is. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I mean, if they're going to grow together, let them grow together. Put it this way. If you put a veteran over there, somebody's going to lose playing time because the veteran's going to take up the reps. And right now, what you're trying to do is grow this wide receiving core. You're trying to make them better in that sense. So on one hand, you can say, yeah, and I said it before, I would have loved to have seen a veteran come into the mix. But now you kind of think about it and you say, maybe you let them go out and kind of get their lumps early, and hopefully, because the schedule's not brutal early on this season, that maybe they get a few extra wins and things begin to really kind of come together. That's the only thing I can talk about. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pontificate for DeAndre Hopkins. And to be honest with you, it's too much money. They don't have the money. So they're not going to go out and get a DeAndre Hopkins and pay somebody $7, $8, $10 million. They don't have that kind of money to throw around. They're going to need money probably during the season as well. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you got something to say it. Give us a shout. We'd love to hear from you. Again, 877-867-1670. This one's from Mark. Mark says, hey, Bill, the Reds are an up-and-coming team. Do you think they're going to catch the Brewers? Also, I don't believe that the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to remain in the top spot. I think it's up to the Brewers to win this division and put everybody else behind them. But the Reds are going to start coming on over the next couple of years if they're able to turn their pitching around. They've had a couple of young guys that have come up. They've used quite a few new starting pitchers this year. They just haven't been as banged up as the Brewers have been, and the Brewers have better pitching by far. It's just that they're finally starting to see. I mean, De La Cruz obviously coming up as a big shot in the arm from them, but it's been a really poorly run organization the Reds have over the last few years. They took a shot a couple of years ago when they brought in Moustakas and gave him the big contract, and they had other players that they had paid to come there, and they bought a little bit of pitching. And then, Sonny Gray, they cut. The only guy they're hanging on to is Votto, and he hasn't really even played this season. Remember they had Sonny Gray, and Sonny Gray was pitching so extremely well, and they ended up cutting him loose. And that was kind of like they were never going to really, truly put it all together at the same time. And so that's the reason so many people are so frustrated with what Cincinnati has done. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, they have brought up some young talent. They very quietly brought them along, but Pittsburgh was a team that, remember, was being criticized for a long time because they were just cutting talent and cutting payroll. And they, don't get me wrong, they were starting to put money back into the farm system, but they were a team that just was foundering. And even their fans thought they're just taking the money. They're just collecting the cash. And now you look at some of these guys that are coming up, they got Bay, the kid Bay. They've got Austin Hedges behind the plate, who they picked up as free agent from Cleveland last year. They started to put a few pieces together. They've got that Brian Reynolds out in left field. They got him in a trade from San Francisco a few years back. The same thing with Sawinski, the left-hander, out in center field. So they've made some moves to get themselves better. And they've got, some decent backups. But when you got Mitch Keller, Luis Ortiz, Rich Hill, who they picked up out of a free agent from Boston, they've got some players. They've got a few names. They've sprinkled in some talent, and they've just been very quietly able to kind of put it all together. So kudos to what they're doing over there in Pittsburgh. Coming up in the next hour, bottom of the next hour, we should be talking to Mike Clemens, who is up in Green Bay. So we'll talk with Mike about the final day, the final actual practice for the Green Bay Packers before they head off to parts unknown and then reconvene for training camp. Tomorrow is going to be one of those, quote, team building days or experiences or what have you. So they got that going on. So we're going to talk to Mike coming up here in just a little bit. Until then, you and I here at Turtleback Golf Course. We're in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Beautiful place. Good stuff. Good stuff. And a lot of the celebs for tomorrow are going to be taking a couple of swings today. And it never did get to 84 today. It is, the smoke from Canada is thick, real thick. And it's created it looks like it's a mist almost. It's so thick. It's a haze. But it's smoke. You can see it blowing through the air. No doubt about it. We got another hour yet to go. Hang in there. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Quick Trip. Don't forget, use your Quick Rewards card. And don't forget, they're giving a pontoon boat away with Mountain Dew. Check out the Mountain Dew at Quick Trip. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers are back on the field for the second and final practice of their mandatory mini camp. That includes quarterback Jair Alexander. The All-Pro did not take part in OTAs, which are voluntary. He told reporters yesterday that he stayed in Green Bay until April, left during the offseason program, and now will be back for most of the summer. So why stay when everyone else gets away?
I like to be here, just because I feel like I get the best work. When no one's here, and it's quiet, I can go in Lambeau all day. Quiet, it's like you have no choice but to find peace.
Alexander gave up $700,000 by not taking part in the offseason program. So what would it have taken him to come to that?
To come to offseason, I'd probably say I would have definitely been here for 10. Yeah, definitely been here for 10. Definitely.
But not 700.
I think I just know what I got going. I think it won't work.
The Packers had a chance for 3 practices this week, but Coach Matt LaFleur is instead choosing to do a team-building exercise away from the field tomorrow. After that, they are off until training camp gets going July 26th. LaFleur said today that quarterbacks and injured players are going to report July 21st, everyone else coming in on the 25th. Turning to the Badgers, their recruiting class sitting at number 13 in the country for 2024. Wisconsin has 14 commits, expecting several more here the rest of the month.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Rural Mutual is the #1 farm insurer in Wisconsin for a good reason. As a company founded by farmers, they understand the ag industry and its challenges. Local agents offer farm families the best advice and personalized coverage. Visit ruralmutual.com to find an agent near you.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Brewers and Twins are closing out their quick 2-game series this afternoon in Minneapolis. Minnesota scored 4 runs in the bottom of the ninth to beat Milwaukee last night. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Welcome back to the program. Good to have you. Hello to Lynn Dickey down below. Good to see you. Great stuff. We are broadcasting live. We're here. There he is right there. As a matter of fact, hey, what's going on? If you are watching on the live stream, you're watching him climb up into the tee box at the moment. That's Lynn in the yellow shirt right there. Came down and started yelling at me. I have a headset on. I don't know what he was yelling. I'm sure it was some kind of a dirty story. But good to have so many people here and see so many faces, and just good to hang out with everybody again. Always, it's like a reunion. Always is. Always is. By the way, this hour sponsored locally by Noble's Tire Service, your local Goodyear tire dealer right here in Barron County, and they say they are the home of the round tires. Those square ones, they will F up the RV every day of the week. Nobles, they got round ones. Cool. I kid you not. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, feel free. This hour, coming up at the bottom of the hour, our guy Mike Clemens up in Green Bay going to be joining us about 1:30-ish. So we should hopefully hear from Mike unless practice goes long today. Ronald says, being a rebuilding year, would you consider trading some of your older defensive guys to help salary cap and throw the rookies to the Wolves and see what you got? Boy, that's no. And here's the reason why. Because you're going to need your defense this year. If you're going to have any shot at any kind of success. Now, maybe mid-season, you might want to think about it, but you're going to have the need for defense this year because you just have a lot of uncertainty offensively speaking. You don't, I don't know. I guess if things go south quickly, maybe come trade deadline, you could be looking at, trading of Preston Smith, trading of Devondre Campbell, if they're having solid seasons. But no, I don't think they're going to do that. The only way you would do that again is if the season and the record is just bad, and you're heading down a really primrose path of bad football. Otherwise, you would believe that you have a legitimate shot at being at least a 7, 8, 9 win team. If you get to 9 wins may put you in the postseason. And the quicker you can get your quarterback postseason experience, the better off you're going to be in the long run, if indeed he's the real deal. So no, I would not do that unless, of course, the season goes bad. Then you might consider it. Jeff says, is that the same golf course that Larry the Cable Guy played at? Yes, Larry the Cable Guy. It's the last 2 years, last year and this year, not here, unable to make it. But he was and has been and is a big supporter of this event. Has been here in years past, and has done a lot of cool stuff. I mean, we've had him on the air. It's some of the best times, funniest times we've ever had on the air, as a matter of fact. So love it when he's here, miss him when he's not. As a matter of fact, I sent a text off to him saying, hey, you're going to be here. And what it was, his wife is from this area, and they had a summer home here where they would go to the Northwoods and just chill and such. But they sold that property. So they don't have that house here anymore. So the only reason he would be here is to come to the tournament. So normally he would be here this time of year, kind of taking a break, but no, not this year, not here this year. Hopefully we get him back, because he's always a great asset to the program to come on and say hello. And I love it because he writes a lot of new stuff, a lot of new jokes and stories, and he debuts them on the program. He'll literally sit here and read some of the stuff that he's put down. So it's always great. So no, not this year. Mark says, I think the Packers have a legitimate shot at getting to 7 or 8 wins. Do you really think 9 wins is in the future? A lot of things have to go right. I mean, a lot of things have to go right. I think Jordan Love has to have and develop a really good relationship and rapport with his wide receivers, like right now. That was one of the things Matt LaFleur talked about. He was asked the question, do you think that, working out with some of these guys in the offseason has helped Jordan Love? And Matt LaFleur didn't want to come out and say, oh, of course it did. It doesn't hurt. Nothing hurts, But like he said, then you get a familiarity of guys' tendencies. Does a guy like to run kind of a curved route or a crisp route? How hard does he, run a dig route? Does he run it out? Does he run it in? How fast does he get under a ball once you launch it into the air? Things like that. Some guys, they don't have, 4.4 speed until the ball's in the air. And then if they got to go get it, you can throw it a little bit further and they can go get it. They can run under it. So, that familiarity is always good. There's nothing wrong with that. Not at all. So to answer the question, do I think that they can get to 8 and 9 wins? If things early on with the receiving core and the tight ends, if that begins to work, yeah, you could probably say that, some of those guys, maybe they age a little bit quicker. And again, go back to, you've got a veteran offensive line. You've got veterans in the backfield. Your defense, you would assume, you're looking at second-year Devontae Wyatt, second-year Quay Walker, experience in Devondre Campbell, experience in Preston Smith. You've got an up-and-comer in Lucas Van Ness, who you believe is going to be real, and he's going to take over in the meantime with Kingsley Angabari until Rashawn Gary gets back. And let's just say Angabari gets better, because he looked pretty good. He wasn't bad. He was decent last year. He was decent. If Van Ness and Angabari can actually do something opposite Preston Smith, and then you get Rashawn Gary back, and let's say Gary is maybe better than expected when he comes back, suddenly you've got 4 pass rushers on the outside that are all decent or better than decent, pretty good. And with what you believe up front, that's going to get better, or you would assume or hope that it gets better. Yeah, why not? Why not? And then your secondary, you've got what is considered to be one of the best cover corners in the league in Jair Alexander. You've got some veterans and a guy like a Rasul Douglas back there. You're hopefully getting Stokes back, and Stokes looked really good his rookie season until he busted up that ankle last year. He looked really good. Now you do have some changeover at the safety position, but they're all of a sudden doing all these experiments with guys, with Savage and company at the safety position, to where they're using kind of corners in the safety area. And if guys are willing to put their head in there and hit and stuff the run, and yet you've got an incredibly speedy secondary now, maybe, who knows, right? Who knows? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout on maybe the optimistic side of things, great. We'd love to hear from you. Again, 877-867-1670. You can hit us up. Find us. This one's from Joe. Joe says, no way the Packers are going to win more than 7 games. They're going to have to take their lumps. This season being what it is, you're going to have to look for a big left tackle next year. I don't believe they have anybody on the roster right now that can fill Bakhtiari's shoes. No, I would agree with that. I know that there's this thought that somebody's going to emerge, but no, really there's not. One of the X factors regarding the offensive line, to be quite honest with you, is probably more so than anything, you're looking at Sean Ryan as a 3rd-round draft choice. Now he's not playing left tackle; he'd be more of a guard. But you got Sean Ryan back there. You got Yosh Nijman. Yosh Nijman did admirably play left tackle when David Bakhtiari was down. So that you can understand. But in the grand scheme of things, no, you really don't have a David Bakhtiari on the roster. So you're probably going to be looking for a left tackle next year. That's why you got to solidify your right tackle position this year, so you're not looking for both at the end of the season. I don't know what Sean Ryan's going to bring to the table, but as a 3rd-round draft choice after the PED suspension last year, they're going to give him every opportunity to kind of show his wares, but he's already behind the 8 ball. Zach Tom looked really good last year, but is he big enough and sustainable enough if they put him at the right tackle position? I think he's more of a guard, to be quite honest with you. But I think the offensive line itself is deep with options, as long as they don't go through a rash of injuries and Bakhtiari holds up. But I think they can be. I think the offensive line can be pretty good. But yeah, next offseason, you're definitely going to be looking for a left tackle, because as Mike Clemens said yesterday, this is pretty much it for David Bakhtiari, and he knows it. Elton Jenkins is a mainstay. He's solid at that left guard position. That left from the interior all the way out to the left side, you're as solid gets. Really no worries there. No worries there for Jordan Love. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Jake says, what kind of a jump do you expect out of Devontae Wyatt? I don't know. Yeah, I just know that what I saw, the flashes from him last year were really good. I saw a guy that had really quick feet, hands out in front. He could move men when he needed to, but he was just quick in hopping into the hole. I liked what I saw. It was just a different. Kenny Clark is low center of gravity, just a block of granite, right? He's the guy. He's the immovable object. He doesn't get blown out. He doesn't go downfield very often. Doesn't turn his back hardly ever. And he just holds his ground, which is what you're supposed to do as a nose tackle. And then you get an arm to either side when you're trying to, stop the run. Whereas Devontae Wyatt, he's a guy that's trying to hop around tackles, hop around guards, shoot the gap, and try to put pressure on quarterbacks or stuff the run. And he did both very well in a very limited playing time last year. So I thought what I saw out of him was great. Now, remember, you get done with college, they get done winning a championship. They go straight to combine training. Then they go to the combine. Then they go to the draft. Then they go to rookie camp. Then, it's pretty much year round, except for the 4 weeks you get from now until the end of July that those guys had off last year. And you get worn out. So between him and Quay Walker, and Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, Samori Toure, you get worn out. I'm looking for, that's why they always talk about the sophomore year, that jump you make, because you get a full off season to go rest. Your strength and conditioning coach says, this is what we want you to do. This is when you go away, this is what we want you to come back as. We want you to come back 8 pounds heavier, 9 pounds, 12 pounds, 15 pounds heavier. We want you to be stronger, be able to, your measurables, obviously we want better. And we want you to get to this point. So you know what to go away and work on. This is what you're going to do. And that's when you have your own downtime, your own trainer. You get back into your gym and your familiarity, and you're not constantly bombarded with life in the NFL. So that's why they talk about that second-year jump, especially for guys that are guys of quality, because they get just an off-season to rest and relax, and then they usually get back in their own schedule, their own time to be able to come back and start working out again. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. We'd love to hear from you. 877-867-1670. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show to get to. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Welcome to Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. May I take your order?
I'd like 9 windows, please.
Of course. All our products are custom made just for you.
I'm hoping they'll match my home.
Of course they can. Have it your way.
Excuse me? We're talking about windows, right?
Yes, we customize any decor. Our design options are virtually limitless, even more customized than your coffee.
So you're like my personal barista for windows and doors.
Exactly. And you couldn't have picked a better time, because if you customize your order by August 31st, you can bundle and save big.
Good deal. That was easy.
Thank you. Drive through.
Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities. Bundle and save when you customize your order by August 31st at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Whether you're here in Rice Lake or you're in our own backyard down in Milwaukee or Brookfield or Waukesha at Masters Ease, this time of year, they have people coming from all over the state for outdoor furniture, whether it's patio furniture, bars, bar stools, all the stuff that lasts a lifetime. Adirondack chairs, you got patio tables, umbrellas. That's Masters East on Blue Mountain Road in Brookfield. Call them 262-746-5931, 262-746-5931 for all of the in-store specials. And again, that's Masters East on Blue Mountain Road in Brookfield. And that's who I've gone to numerous times, as a matter of fact, for the patio set that I have, for the 8-top, some of the chairs that I have out back around the tiki bar. Just great people, and the quality is amazing. It's just amazing, and it just lasts and lasts and lasts. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to just leave your stuff out in the elements. You want to preserve it, but this stuff doesn't fade. It just lasts and lasts and lasts. Good stuff from our friends over there at Masters East, Blue Mountain Road in Brookfield. And like I said, people come from all over. And as they say, you can get it, see it today and get it tomorrow. That's Masters East on Blue Mountain Road in Brookfield. Good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Love to hear from you. The wind is picked up. The wind is picked up here, as a matter of fact, here at Turtleback. And again, it was one of those days where, as Boutique Babe says, it's one of those days that we had the prediction of 84 and humid. And today, not so. You got a breeze blowing through, a lot of haze and smoke and such. So, yeah, it's just one of those days today. Got Mike Clemens coming up here in about 15 minutes. Stay tuned for that. He should be joining us on the hotline as he is up in Green Bay. And we'll talk with Mike and get his take on everything that's going on up there. Kyle says, how many balls are they going to let Anderson misplay before they actually get a go-to right fielder? That's when we were talking about that earlier about what are you thinking regarding the Brewers and who they could possibly go after. If you can find another outfielder with a stick, or if you can find a first baseman with an everyday stick, those are the two positions I'd probably go for at this point. You could say third if you wanted to go in that direction, but no, that's you know, I would put either a tremendously. I would just put a better outfielder out there. Let's be honest. You're needing bats at this point. Not even defense. You're needing bats. Now, I do agree with the fact that if you're going to DH anybody, I'm not going to DH Christian Yelich. I'm just not, unless you absolutely positively have to. I would probably DH Rowdy Tellez, unless, of course, you would move Rowdy Tellez, but he's become kind of a fast fan favorite. But I think if I'm going to move anybody, I'd probably make Rowdy your everyday DH, unless, of course, Jesse Winker comes back and the neck injury that he had sustained is gone and the cloud is lifted and suddenly he's able to start jacking the ball in the National League Central and start hitting it out of the parks like he used to at a Great American Ballpark and Wrigley Field, American Family Field and such. But no, I'm probably going to find another outfielder that's got a better stick. And I really don't care. As much as we want to talk defensively speaking, when you're a team that doesn't hit the ball, you got to pitch well and play really good defense. But if you can find a better stick, I don't care what position they play. I'm going to go in that direction. Let's be honest. I mean, Contreras is having kind of a down year as well. You thought he'd come in and really be a good asset offensively speaking. It's not like it's not like the Brewers didn't try. They've tried. It just hasn't really panned out. They haven't been able to find, they went after Contreras thinking, my God, he's going to come in, hit 260, 270 pretty consistently, and he is going to be, you get 3 or 4 or 5 of those guys that can hit 260, 270, as opposed to the guys that are all hitting 250 or worse with a better OPS. Yeah, that's the direction you're going to go. It just hasn't panned out. It just hasn't. I mean, for as much crap as people talk about Christian Yelich, it's like, wait a minute. Yelich is actually hitting the ball. He's 265. It's not great. It's not Christian Yelich numbers, but 265 going into today's game. 265, 9 home runs. He's ahead of the pace. He's what I say, 26 home runs, what he was on pace to hit, which would be 8 better than what I predicted him to hit. Ben and I, before Ben left, Ben took the over on 18.5. I took the under, but he does go through spurts. He's hit 2 in just a couple of days, but then he'll go 2-3 weeks without even coming close. So let's just see. Let's just see what he does. But yeah, he's your best hitter. Short of Owen Miller. I mean, Owen Miller obviously hitting 308 with a 344 on base percentage. That's nothing to sneeze at. But the best part about Christian Yelich, is that the strikeouts that were so prevalent early on, he really is kind of figured out. Because I thought for sure he'd be approaching probably 80, 90 strikeouts by now, and he's not. He's at 63 strikeouts, and I think he has just over 30 walks on the season. His on-base percentage is now up just a tick under 360. So for maybe, we're starting to see a little bit of a rise of Christian Yelich. Now, as soon as I say that, as much as I rip him and he starts to play well and hit the ball, maybe as soon as I say that, then he goes back into this funk, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, we're sitting here come July 4th, and he's batting 202 and still stuck on 9 home runs, and the strikeouts have become more prevalent. So cross your fingers and knock on wood. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This is from Jake. Jake says, why do you keep talking about Rowdy Tellez? He's not a bad first baseman. He's got 12 home runs. No, but if you can find somebody that hits more consistent, his OPS for the 12 home runs is still under 750. It's not like he's got an OPS of 900. It's still under 750. And and he's got what? I think it's 12 or 13 home runs on the season. It's not Aaron Judge over there. Just so we're clear. I just want to make sure you understand that. It is what it is. So I like Rowdy, and I know he's a fan favorite. When he hits a home run, everybody loves it. I get it. But if you can find somebody that can put the ball in play better than a 230 to 250 batting average, I'm taking it. I'm sorry. Just going to. This hour of the program brought to you locally by our friends at Noble's Tire Service, your local Goodyear tire dealer right here in Barron County. They also bring you the broadcast here every year from up here at Turtleback Golf Course for the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Classic. And a lot of great celebs are going to be here, not only today, but tomorrow as well. And Nobles, as they say, it's your home of the round tire. The home of the round tire. Good stuff. Coming up after the bottom of the hour, we should be getting a call from our buddy Mike Clements, who's going to be joining us. And Mike will give us a full report as to what's going on up there in Green Bay today. The last practice for the Green Bay Packers, actual practice. Tomorrow going to be a team building event. So today, the last practice for the Green Bay Packers. As from what I see just a couple of minutes ago, they're wrapping it up. There's the pictures coming through now of them taking the final team huddle and the words, "That'll do it." Up next for the Green Bay Packers is training camp. So up next for us will be the wrap from our own Mike Clements. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show broadcasting live here in Rice Lake at Turtleback, a hidden gem in the state of Wisconsin. We'll be back. More to come right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
It's here. Fillets, roasts, ground beef, a variety of meats delivered right to your doorstep by ScholzieFamilyBeef.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
One thing I have in my travels here, and then tomorrow night we're going to be at Elkhart Lake at Road America, and then over the weekend as well. And that is our friends at Robert's Specialty Meats. Yes, stopped down there yesterday, grabbed a couple of steaks, grabbed some sausages, some ribs on a stick. I'm ready to grill out. I'm ready for the outdoor RV camper stuff living over at Road America coming up this weekend. So I may even throw a couple of extra on for people that are just strolling by. But I love myself some Robert Specialty Meats in Waukesha. Robert Specialty Meats, Waukesha.com on Sunset Drive in Waukesha. We now bring you on our guy Mike Clemens on the scene in Green Bay. And Mike, I understand they just wrapped it up, right?
They did, and it wasn't pretty.
Really?
They ran some 11-11. You know, this is helmets and shorts, but most of the stuff now they did here the last 2 days, some was 7-on-7. It was like 3/4 speed, but they aired it out and they kind of went full speed, and then they went to a 2-minute drill. And Jordan Love is out there now, and it's jet sweep fake, drops back to pass, looks to his right, but his intended is off to his left hand side. And it's Christian Watson, number 9, and he's doing kind of a hook. He goes off to his left, sort of near the sideline, then he comes back. And Jordan Love throws a ball that goes sailing right to the sideline, like maybe Watson ran the wrong route, and it goes right to Jair Alexander, sitting back in zone. Like, really? That's your last play that you've got to sit on for the next several weeks until training camp? And then they let Sean Clifford run the team. He's out there, and he's rolling around, throws a ball over the middle. Looks like it was going to get caught, but a defender, a linebacker, gets a tip. The ball goes up in the air. Enos Gaines come down with a pop fly and back-to-back interceptions by the defense. And this is all they got the period started with Danny
Etling.
The third quarterback, Denny Etling, he's back in pressure, but he drops back, and he throws one deep over the middle to a wide-open Jeff Cotton. That's this guy that they signed in free agency like around January or so. Mm-hmm. He's wide open in the end zone, and Etling overthrows it. So, I mean, it sails out to the back of the end zone, throws it too hard. I mean, it's you're supposed to finish on what turns out to be the final day of practices at the mandatory minicamp on a high note on offense. And they couldn't get it done.
Mike, I'm sitting here today. I saw Lynn Dickey a little while ago. I was talking to Paul Kaufman. I see, a lot Ezra Johnson. There's a lot of guys here, and they come over to me and ask me the same question that they get asked. And they just say, how does Jordan Love look? And you get mixed reports, and what sticks out to me, Mike, is what you said to me last year and in the offseason when Jordan Love, and he was there and he was going through all the drills and such, and Rodgers wasn't. And then Rodgers comes in and it looks like a professional versus a high schooler. Are we still watching the high school level of Jordan Love?
Yeah. And that's the whole point. I mean, the last 2 years, Jordan Love was the placeholder running the offseason because you knew 12 was coming back. But now, you know who's QB1. And so you would just think that the plays that they're calling, the attention that, the players are giving to him. I mean, it's like everything looks great until the ball comes out of his hand. That's just the point. It's just like, hey, this isn't walkthrough. It looks like the results look like walkthrough rather than timing and, confidence and accomplishment and closing the deal on some of these plays. And they can't, I don't get it. I don't get why even LaFleur can't even come up with some plays that are confidence building to say, okay, now, let's start from there. Just a little bit of confidence build. Because back to back, an overthrown touchdown pass and back to back interceptions to close out the mini camp. And that doesn't mean that we're supposed to celebrate that Joe Barry's going to have the number one defense in the National Football League by any means. No, it's off, and it's bizarre. It's just bizarre.
Mike, I want to go back. Go ahead.
No, I did want to take it though to. There are some guys that are flashing. Here's some names to start looking for, because you know about Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, and number 11, Jaden Reed, out of Michigan State, end of the second round pick. He looks great, man. Little details, Bill. Like he lines up in the slot, and Love comes to the line, and he maybe makes a check in the cadence or something, and then you see Jaden Reed, the rookie, look out to Christian Watson and do the signal where he's touching his eyes, like look. Maybe it changed to look for the snap count.
Yeah.
Little details, things like that, and then you see Jaden Reed fly down the field and run crisp routes. It's just a question if they can actually get the ball there to him. But he looks good. And Rich Bisaccia had him first in line today to return punts. They actually had some live punts going on today. And right behind him was Romeo Dobbs. Another kid that's kind of flashing the last couple of times you've seen him is an undrafted guy out of Mississippi named Malik Heath. He's 6'2", 213. Another one of these kind of under the radar Mississippi receivers, but he's been coming on and looking good in some of the camps. So, there's guys that are flashing out here now in this last couple of weeks.
Mike, I want to go back. You talked about Matt LaFleur and the play calling, and you were trying to set, something up for some success and some confidence building. I go back to your question today, and you and I had talked a little earlier about how Mark Murphy said, hey, he's looking forward to seeing maybe the full version of the Matt LaFleur offense. And you brought that up to Matt, and Matt said he kind of laughs at that. Now, my question is that because we've seen it? Do you think he's kind of sloughing it off like we're not going to see anything different than what we've already seen? Or I just thought the response of, yeah, I laugh at that, I don't know what that is. I'm like, I thought it was a little interesting that he said that he laughs when people say that you've already, we've already seen it. I understand that he means it's fluid. You got to call plays for guys that are in the mood, that guys are in the groove. But, did you kind of, were you taken aback a little bit by the answer?
No, I kind of anticipated it. But here's the deal. So Mark Murphy is on your show statewide May 25th, and I think that was around the time that he actually did the official press conference that the NFL draft was coming to Green Bay, right?
Mm-hmm, right after that.
So your question was, now that you've moved on from Aaron Rodgers, what do you expect to see from this offense? And the Packers president and CEO, who was at practice today, who, according to him, he has one-on-ones with the head coach and with the general manager in Gutekunst and with Russ Ball, the finance guy. But, he gets direct information as to where they think they're going. That the president, the guy who hired LaFleur, says, Aaron Rodgers tended to call audibles at the line. And I think that we're going to get looking back to the Matt LaFleur offense. And, that Jordan Love can run that. And, Bill, that means the big picture of this whole thing was 3 years ago they said, all right, we don't know what we got with Aaron Rodgers, but we're going to get rid of Mike McCarthy. We're going to get a head coach that's running one of these offenses like Sean McVay's running out with the Rams, or that Shanahan's running with the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
We're impressed by these offenses. Aaron Rodgers is impressed by this offense. And so we went out and got one of those McVay guys to run it. And they ran it in 2019. But then they got away from it because, according to the president of the team, they ran the Aaron Rodgers offense. So the president of the team said on your show, yeah, we're kind of looking forward to getting back to the guy that we hired to run the offense. Triple fakes and jet sweeps and, develop tight ends so that they look more like George Kittle, instead of Mercedes Lewis. That's the offense that I hired when I replaced Mike McCarthy. And I haven't seen that the last couple of years. And I know that Matt LaFleur over the years has had a standard answer where he says, well, I don't bring an offense. We custom the offense to what the players are. And that's true. You have to do that. McVay has had to do that as his roster's changed out with the Rams. And once he got Matthew Stafford, son of a gun, he closed the deal and went to a second Super Bowl, and this time won it. But I think that that's a real interesting divide right there, where the president who's unfiltered, as we know, is saying, yeah, we'd kind of like to see that McVay-Shanahan thing that's gone to the Super Bowl a couple of times while we've been sitting at home, as opposed to this, let's make it up as we call it at the line sort of thing. So, LaFleur, he's sort of has to play both sides because he wants to make sure that the players feel that they've got input. And just from a standpoint of, you're not going to run an offense if some guy just is incapable of certain packages that are in the plan. But LaFleur said today, no, eventually it's our offense and it's fluid. It changes throughout the season depending on needs and who's up. But that's an interesting divide between what the president's saying and what the head coach is saying.
Talking with Mike Clemens, brought to you by the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Quiet, cozy, comfortable, and get a hold of our friends at the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Go to baymotel.com. That's baymotel.com. And they have all kinds of good stuff, including the home-style cooking over there. That's Bay Motel Green Bay, right there on Military Avenue, a mile from Lambeau Field. Again, baymotelgreenbay.com. Mike, I want to go and talk about something yesterday where you had texted me and said, hey, Matt LaFleur, man, he went off. He went running down the field screaming, what are you doing? It's wrong. It's not. Do you get the sense that Matt LaFleur, Mike, I keep going back in my head to his first year, one of his first games, Rodgers rolls right, hangs onto it, throws it away. Matt LaFleur runs down the sideline, screams at him. And, Aaron in his way goes like, what do you want me to do? And he looked at him and he yelled, throw the effing ball. And it was emphatic, and he had his arms around this team. And then we saw that erode over the last couple of years. Is he back? Is that coach back?
Yeah. And then those were the words he used yesterday. What's going on?
Right.
And, because they're running a simple drill where the quarterback is throwing 45-degree angle passes, flags, corner routes to the sideline, and the wide receivers are making sharp 90-degree angles and making outs to the sideline. And Jason Vrabel is the wide receivers coach, but he's got an assistant, and the head coach went up to this assistant and tore his ass. And basically, it's like, I may not say this directly to the players, but you're accountable and you're supposed to have these guys in the right spot. And I just saw 3 or 4 guys run the same wrong route in succession. Why are you, off topic? Look at what the quarterbacks are doing. Listen to what we called before we started this drill. And he's not. LaFleur, actually, he did this his first year. I remember him not being shy when he's the new head coach and it's training camp, or actually it was mandatory mini camp. And he's going up to this veteran, Jimmy Graham, tight end, and saying, no. You're looking in too soon. When you go down and across as a tight end in this offense, first you're looking straight, then you make the cut, then you're looking back over here, and you don't turn your eyes back to the quarterback until you get past this hash mark. Otherwise, you're telegraphing where you're headed. You wait until you get halfway through the field, then you look into the quarterback, because that's when that's what the timing is. That's when the ball is going to be released. Do it again. Made him do it 3 times before he got 31-year-old Jimmy Graham to understand those details on that play from the tight end position.
So now tomorrow they have a team building exercise, and then that's it until basically the end of July when this team all reconvenes. And I guess, Mike, the number one thing we're going to be talking about is, once they put the pads on, is Jordan Love capable of being an accurate enough passer in the NFL to get the job done in the succession from Aaron Rodgers, right? That's pretty much it.
And Jordan's supposed to talk to us this afternoon, so obviously we'll have, plenty of questions. Like, what is off? What's off?
Right.
I mean, it's one thing when the defense is hanging in there and they pretty much know what's going on, and you've got Jair back there. And Jair, man, even though he took off all the OTAs, and Rod Demosky reported that Jair gave up $700,000 for not reporting to the OTAs, according to his contract. $700,000. Okay, wow. All right. But Jair out there today, man, he was deflecting passes. He got at least 2 picks. And then when one play was over with, the ball boy was throwing the ball to the center, and he deflected that pass from the ball. He was knocking down anything that was in the air today. So he's all over saying, I'm ready.
Yeah.
How about you? I'm ready.
Did he give a reason why he missed it, Mike? Did he just not want to come, or was he out working out somewhere else?
No, he's into his own personal zone thing. He talks a lot about his mantra, and he talks a lot about his meditation that he does. And he basically said, I don't want to be here when the other people are here. He said the best time of the year to be in Green Bay now is going to be between now and training camp, because everybody will be out. And then he'll come in the facility when it's empty like that and do his workouts here. But I asked him directly a couple of times, so what's your off-season program like? Because, these guys these days, they take videos of it. They put it up on Instagram. They sort of brag what they're doing. And he goes, I've got an island. I go, you didn't actually buy an island. No, somewhere he's got a house, and he probably built a moat around it. But he's a solitary guy. He's a solitary man, and he likes to just be in his house by himself and focus and concentrate and do his workout like that. Doesn't want to talk much about it, but he's here to prove everybody he's ready. So he's a different cat that way. He has fun portraying that. I know that he socializes and goes out with some of these guys, but that's just, he wants to be out on his own island like a corner is in the NFL. And he doesn't want to talk about it that much, but that's just his thing. But, he looks great. He's ready. He's hopping around. And he talked about talking to Eric Stokes. He calls Eric Stokes regularly, who's coming back from that knee and that serious foot injury, surgery on both of them.
Yeah.
And just keeping his spirits up, because Jair says, I've had to rehab an injury too in season, and I know what he's going through.
Mike, one question before I let you go. Is the smoke there as thick as it is here? Because today it's almost like a cloudy, overcast day, and it's not supposed to be, but the smoke is so thick from the northern country, it's made it actually rather cool here. So how is the weather there in Green Bay?
It's kind of warm and muggy, but it's not as hazy as it was during OTAs. There was the first wave of the Canadian wildfires, about 5 o'clock here, like the sky over Lambeau Field was orange that night.
Yeah.
So today it's just a little more hazy and kind of overcast. It was humid out there. The guys, worked up a pretty good sweat. And I thought it was interesting. Every year we get to this mandatory minicamp, and it goes back to when McCarthy was here. It's like technically it's supposed to be 3 days of practice. And so everybody in the media knew, they're going to go out and go, skeet shooting or paintball or something like that on the third day. But we had to keep it quiet because I want to make it a surprise to the rookies and the new free agents. But, eventually the secret gets out. So LaFleur put out a schedule on Monday night that just said, we're taking Thursday off. We're doing team building. So, they can't keep it a secret anymore. But tomorrow they're going to do something undisclosed to get together before they take off for 6-7 weeks and get ready for about July 25th, 26th is the start of training camp.
Mike, look forward to it. Get home safe, and then you and I will reconvene real soon, okay?
Sounds good, Bill. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, pal. There you go. He's the best. That's our guy, Mike Clemens, on the ground in Green Bay. Packers wrapping up practice, and it is a concern. Jordan Love just not as accurate as they want him to be. And this was one of the things that I saw coming out of college. This was one of the things I saw when he played in Kansas City, when he played against Detroit. He had a hell of a streak last year against Philadelphia. But will the real Jordan Love please stand up? 877-867-1670. Hit us up. We got about 8 minutes to go before the top of the hour, and we get out of here. Hang in there. Live here in Rice Lake, Wisconsin at Turtleback Golf Course. We'll be back right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Welcome to Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. May I take your order?
I'd like 9 windows, please.
Of course. All our products are custom made just for you.
I'm hoping they'll match my home.
Of course they can. Have it your way.
Excuse me? We're talking about windows, right?
Yes, we customize any decor. Our design options are virtually limitless, even more customized than your coffee.
So you're like my personal barista for windows and doors.
Exactly. And you couldn't have picked a better time because if you customize your order by August 31st, you can bundle and save big.
Good deal. That was easy.
Thank you. Drive through.
Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities. Bundle and save when you customize your order by August 31st at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Get up, get out, get over here. Go! It's the Grand Slam giveaway at Potawatomi. This June, play with your club card and you'll have 4 chances to hit big and slide into home with a share of the show-stopping $400,000 in cash and prizes. 50 winners each Thursday. Step up and knock your luck out of the park. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. More info at paysbig.com/Grand Slam. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you. That's pretty much going to do it for today. Well, some bad news. The Brewers got up early. You had Anderson went yard. He hit one 411 feet in the second inning, and then right after that, Luis Urias homered, and it was quickly 2-0 Brewers. But then you had some Correa tripled, and Julian and Solano both scored, and then you've got all downhill since then. It's 4-2 right now. The Twins up, and as a matter of fact, I think the Twins are batting right now. No, it's the Brewers batting, top of the seventh. Top of the seventh, Brewers trailing the Minnesota Twins 4-2 right now in the Twin Cities. So that's the way that wraps up. Back at it again tomorrow. We'll be back here. We're in Rice Lake at Turtleback Golf Course. And thanks to Paul Kaufman for coming by. Tom Kozer. Tom Kozer is the owner of the radio stations up here, but does so much for the charitable aspect and the community up here in Rice Lake. Thanks to him for coming by. Thanks to Mike Clemens, for swinging by and talking to us and wrapping up camp, so to speak. So, and everybody for that matter. We've had a pretty good day. Oh, by the way, also thanks to our guy that came on a little while ago, and that's Santino Ferrucci, the IndyCar driver, for joining us today also. So we had a good day today. We'll be back at it again tomorrow. So until then, 20 hours from now, time for us to go.